Is that RJ? Keeping me on task? Thank you, RJ.
RJ's on it.
It is now 7 p.m., Tuesday, February 18th, 2025, and I call this meeting of the Board of Education to order. Cindy, would you please call the roll?
Arlandu,
Here.
Gonzalez Thomas,
Present.
Meadows,
Present.
Sliger,
Present.
Mathis,
Here.
Kilberg,
Present.
Block,
She's away. Ill tonight. All right, next I would like to invite Aaron Kilberg to lead us in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, before I go to the next one, I want to kind of let everybody know that I have to step out for a few minutes due to a work thing. It's not because I don't love all of you, but I need to go do that for 5 or 10 minutes. So we're gonna, Tom will kind of run everybody through these next parts until I get back. So just want to let you know. Tom, are there any things other than me to add or remove from the agenda?
We're going to remove item 6.8 from the consent agenda item.
Okay, so we're removing it. or
Removing it.
We're pulling it out. We're removing.
Yeah, completely removing it from the
Okay,
agenda.
6. All right.
That's the
all right.
only amendment.
All right, thank you. All right, I'm going to read this part, and then I'm going to quietly sneak out. So tonight, we're celebrating Louise White Elementary. Oh, wait, did I skip?
You got it, you got it.
Okay. Elementary schools' response to Panorama survey data. A committee was created to focus on enhancing school culture and climate. Here to present this evening is Michael Wall, principal, and Jamie Hartness, fifth grade teacher. Thank you.
Hello,
hello.
Hi.
I'm Mike Wall. I'm the principal at Louise White, and this is Jamie Hartness, one of our fifth grade teachers. Sorry that you guys have to stand to watch this the whole time, but it's riveting. So you would have been on the edge of your seat anyway, so it works out fine. We were asked to come and to celebrate something amazing about Louise White, and so we had our pick because there's so many awesome things to talk about. We kind of put these things together under response to Panorama data because that has driven some of our school improvement plan this year. Nailed it. All right, so for Panorama data, as you guys are all well aware, is a new survey we've done this year, collecting feedback from both teachers and students on many different areas, but including their sense of belonging. Our school data had about was in the 90th percentile nationally, which is excellent. When we dig a little bit deeper and we look at schools that are elementary, non-urban, and have a low amount of low income, we're more in like the 80th percentile, which is still excellent. But of course, if any child feels like they don't belong at school, that's one child too many. And so as a SLT, we started to look at our school and our information and thinking what things could we do that might improve students' sense of belonging and connectedness at school. So those were our goals. Great. One area of focus from our sense of belonging that we wanted to look at was how much respect do students show you? That was our lowest area. So that question was student-to-student interactions and whether students perceive themselves as being respected from other students. So we set as a goal to try to increase those two areas, and we'll share two of our approaches here tonight. So one, like all amazing changes, it started with the formation of a committee. This committee was called the School is Awesome Committee with the express goal of having children say, school is awesome, but unironically. So we are striving for that outcome, and we're doing that in two major thrusts. One is through assemblies. We work closely with our PTO, who, this is my first year at Louise White, but according to legend, there have not been assemblies for quite some time at Louise White. So the PTO wanted to bring that back. The School is Awesome Committee also thought that would be a great way to bring the school together. And so the committee selected from different educational assemblies, and the PTO is funding to bring in our weather-related assembly. I can't remember what it's called exactly, but weather-related assemblies. It looks very dangerous in that photo. I've not cleared it with Tony, but I think it will be fine. So that would be one aspect where we're partnering with our PTO. Another is having different focus areas per month. So that would be one area where the whole school is working together and then having some sort of celebration and reward around that area. So for the month of January, when we came back from winter break, we had the focus being on reviewing our CHAMPS expectations, both in the classroom and common spaces. And so that's something we talked about in the morning announcements. Classrooms talked about it, and that was our shared collective effort. And then to celebrate how amazing we are, we had a staff versus student volleyball game, which was very fun and exciting for both the staff and the students. The staff won, of course, so, but it was fun all the same. And then for this month, we've moved on and we're focusing on kindness with a bunch of different activities. Some of those are classroom buddy situations where students from different grade levels are working together to learn about kindness at school, kindness in the community, and doing different activities around that. And this is a picture there of our kindness wall where students are posting messages, encouraging messages to one another in our LRC as just a visual reminder of our focus for this month. And so we'll continue that process throughout the rest of the year. Another area that we were approaching was our fifth grade student jobs.
This was initiated for helping build a sense of belonging. So our fifth graders felt like they were a part of something bigger than their classrooms, but they're also learning leadership skills, responsibility, and respect along with that. And something that wasn't intended but has kind of been a plus from it was helping meet individual students' SEL needs. So some of our students need like social interaction in the morning or just regulation when coming to school. So having them standing at the front door greeting kiddos as they come in is helping achieve that, as well as students who kind of need that motivation break for things that happen in their school day. If they maintain, effort and stamina, then they're able to go to their job and get that mental break as well.
Ms. Hartness, what are some examples of jobs that fifth graders might have?
As you see pictured, we have students who help with the transition during lunchtime, so cleaning up as well as helping like the younger grades actually open all the things they bring for lunch. We also have them helping in the like K1 area of our school, helping them pull off snow boots and snow pants and stuck zippers and everything else. They help check in books, they greet in the morning, they lead our kinders to the buses, they hold the bus signs to help students know which bus is theirs. I
Awesome.
think
Yeah.
that's it.
Yeah. So this was Ms. Hartness's idea, and also she works very hard to coordinate all these student employees, volunteers. Legally, we're not paying them, but volunteers. HR was signaling that whole time. Student jobs, volunteer opportunities.
Thank you.
All right.
Community
And
service.
thank you. Are there any questions or anything else?
I have a question.
Yes.
So for the fifth graders, for the volunteers,
Thank you.
are those, like, do they sign up, or is it like, I mean, I know they're volunteers, but does the teacher approach them and say, I think this student is a good leader, maybe they should be in this program, or like, how does that work?
There is a whole process. First, I send a survey out to all the fifth graders with the help of my teammates to see which jobs they are interested in. So that's essentially applying. And then there's the hiring process where I place them based on where I think they would be best fits, which of course takes networking with my team members based on student need. Also making sure like some of these jobs happen during their win time. So making sure they don't have another intervention or something else that they need to reach. And then after that, they have an orientation where they have lunch in my room and we go through expectations and what each job entails. And then after the orientation, they have a training day where they have like a practice day with other students who have previously done their job. And then they're kind of off on their own.
And is it like the volunteer, is it like for a month or a few months? Because you said they're trained from previous, so what's the duration of their volunteer work?
Right now, it's been trimester by trimester. So it would get 3 different students in each position per year.
So roughly, how many positions?
Last trimester, there was 33. This year, or this trimester, we're up to 47.
And that's 47 times 3, right?
Essentially, yes.
Okay.
And at this point in time, in 2 trimesters, I've been able to hire any student who wanted to do it.
Air quotes.
So everyone who's been interested has had a chance.
Thank you. That's all I had.
All right, thank you very much.
All right. Moving to our next item, we'll be taking a look at action item here, approval of the hiring for our new principal at HWS at Hooverwood School. Steve, would you mind taking lead on this?
Sure. We're here tonight to approve our new principal at Hooverwood. Before he's introduced, though, I would like to, there's a large group of people standing behind me, along with Howie the Hawk, who I met for the first time tonight. But a lot of people, this is the Hooverwood staff, obviously, and a lot of the people that are standing back here were also a part of our interview team. They put in like a 5.5-hour session that night, and I'm always impressed with the commitment, with figuring out what questions to ask. I thought they represented Hooverwood and their culture really well. They were positive, they were supportive to every single candidate, and they had a big hand in making this recommendation to Superintendent Kim. And so I just want to thank them and give them a round of applause for being a part of that. And I would say that you can tell that they're excited and about having a hand in their new principal with all the people that came tonight. So we really appreciate that. That's great. And so with that, we are making the recommendation that the Board of Education hire Sean Degman over here, and he'll have an opportunity to speak momentarily. To a 3-year contract, and that's the recommendation. So I guess we got to see if they're going to approve it or not, right?
Does the board have any questions?
Yeah.
Okay. Then I will entertain a motion to approve the hiring of Sean Degman for the position of principal of Hooverwood Elementary School on a 3-year contract beginning on July 1, 2025.
So moved.
Second.
Aaron Kilberg, motion. RJ Mathis, second. All right. Cindy, please lead us in a roll call vote.
Arlandu,
Yes.
Gonzalez Thomas,
Yes.
Mathis.
Yes.
Meadows is not present. Sliger
Yes.
and Kilberg.
Yes.
All right. Welcome, Principal Degman, to BPS 101. Do you want to say anything briefly, or at least introduce
Yes.
your family,
Yes,
maybe?
for sure.
Yeah,
Yes.
come on up to the podium.
Yes, he does.
Yes, he does.
Hi. Well, first, thank you to all you guys for showing up. Driving here, I started to think like, are there going to be 2 people, 3 people? No, I got almost more birds than people I thought I was going to have, so that's good. No, thank you all for coming out, though. It really means a lot to see all these people here, excited to work with me, excited for this next chapter for all of us. So thank you guys. Thank you, Superintendent Kim, for giving me this opportunity. Thank you to the board for agreeing and making this a less awkward night than it could have been. So thank you guys. No, that's it. Thank you guys all so much. I'm super excited to, start working as soon as possible and, do my best to do everything I can for Hooverwood.
And tell us about your family here.
Oh, yeah, these guys. Hi. This is Parker. He's 8. He's in 2nd grade. This is my daughter Ainsley. She's in kindergarten. She's 5. This is my wife Kira. I'm not going to say her age, but she is a reading specialist in Oak Park.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very nice.
And we live in Downers Grove, so not too far.
Awesome.
Welcome.
Well, welcome again. Yeah. All right. Did you want to say something? I thought you were about to say something. Did I cut you off or no? You don't have to.
Go ahead, Rob. Let's hear it. Maybe a little bit about your background before you got here.
Okay. So I started off teaching 1st grade. I did that for 4 years. Then I transitioned into a data coach for 4 years, then into an instructional coach. After that, my last 4 years, I've been an assistant principal in Park Ridge, and now I'm here.
All right. So, board, what we'd like to do is just pause the meeting for a few minutes, if you'd like to come up and introduce yourself to our principal and everyone, kind of enjoy any of the refreshments that might remain, and we'll reconvene at 7:20. All right, or resume the board meeting. All right.
It is, but it is this screen only, and it's all, so
Thank you very much. Holly, do we have anybody that wishes to speak to the board today?
No, we have no public
Okay,
comment.
as I said before in the past, I will spare you of everything I need to read if that's the case. So moving on to 5.2 BPS Partners. Drew Ray, are you here hiding in the back? I just saw you. Welcome, Drew.
I was told Howie the Hawk was going to stay for the remainder of the meeting. I think that'd be fantastic. Before I go with my prepared statements, I just want to say thank you on behalf of our staff to the district for how we've gone about in the past couple cycles here picking our principals. So the input that you get from staff, that feeling that those voices are being amplified, the feedback that we get is always very positive. So, with Michael Wall last year and now with Sean Degman, really appreciate that protocol. Let's keep doing that. It's a good thing. So, January saw the Ray family absolutely ravaged by the scourge of influenza A, strep, twice now with strep. Probably throw several other illnesses in there as well. I'm sorry that I wasn't able to be with you last month, but I'm very fortunate that Sarah Barrett was able to share my message with you at the last board meeting. As this is my first year as president of the association, I have found Sarah's constant support as our vice president invaluable, and I appreciate her pinch hitting for me. So, a few updates for you. Number one, currently, we are in the process of finally initiating our class composition and size committee, a committee that was bargained into our contract almost a year and a half ago, but had not formally begun the process of setting up a meeting until the past several weeks. Prior to our current contract, this committee functioned primarily as an ad hoc group designed to review issues related to class size. While class size remains a key focus, this committee is now a standing committee that proactively examines both class size and composition. The change in this committee structure reflects the increase of accommodations and modifications that are needed to support so many of our learners in the district. The BEA looks forward to working together to meet the ever-growing complexities of student needs and ensuring that as a district, we proactively and adequately support our staff in those efforts as well. And I know what you're thinking, just what this district needs, another committee. Are we a committee-heavy district? Probably yes. But does our committee system highlight the importance of collaborative structures that include the voices of our educators? Also, yes. Second, Public Schools Week is next week. It's an annual week-long celebration dedicated to honoring the invaluable contributions and achievements of educators and education advocates in our public schools and the communities that they serve. Led by the Learning First Alliance, a coalition of 12 national education groups with a collective membership exceeding 10 million, including the National Education Association, of which the BEA is a local affiliate, Public Schools Week invites the education community, parents, lawmakers, and others to join us in celebrating our nation's public schools and the dedicated individuals behind them. In light of recent efforts to undermine public education across the country, Public Schools Week is more important now than ever. So let's continue celebrating supporting public education, not just during Public Schools Week, but all year long. Finally, in that spirit of supporting public education, a friendly reminder that the BEA Trivia Night fundraiser will be held February 27th at the Batavia Moose. We invite the board and administration to join us for a fun evening raising money for the BEA scholarship for 2 graduating seniors pursuing careers in education or vocational trades. As you know, this is a great way to be together as an educational community and support 2 of our graduating seniors. I look forward to seeing all of you at the Moose. Go Bulldogs, happy Black History Month. Remember, Black history is U.S. history. Solidarity forever with our brothers and sisters in BESPA. Good night and good luck.
Thank you. Tonight, BESPA does not have anyone that will be addressing the board, but thank you for all the work that they do. And then student ambassadors. Hey, guys.
Hi, everyone. We're student ambassadors. We're back. So a lot's been going on, especially with sports. I'm gonna say wrestling has been having a great season. They actually, I think girls just had their sectionals this weekend, I believe. Guys also had their sectionals. They actually had 2 state qualifiers. Shout out to, I think it's Kai Enos and Asher Sheldon. Great job. And track and field. Track and field started up. We had our first meet. So some great performances. Actually, I think the guys broke 143 personal records. So that's crazy. Lots of good work happening there. And a shout out to Olivia McKay Photography for coming out. She shot some great photos, always supporting school sports. So we had some crazy wins over there. And also basketball just had a game yesterday, I think. Monday, I think they versed St. Charles East, and it was pretty close, 47-46, so great job for them. And then also, I wanted to do a shout out. Me and Duri actually are taking a class called Senior Leaders at the high school, and it's really cool because this class kind of helps us learn leadership skills, and we work with ILP students, learning about how to use AAC devices, just communication skills in general. And recently, we took a field trip to the Fox Valley Special Recreation Association, and it was cool. We got to work with special needs adults and kind of learn better communication skills. So shout out to Miss McEwen who started that class. I think it's amazing skills for students to learn.
Okay, and you might be wondering why the BFAC is up there when my wonderful friend, director, boss is sitting right here to present to you later. But there is an improv show, and I couldn't find any improv pictures. It's next Thursday. Pull up. I'm in it. We had a pretty good practice today, if I say so myself. And then show choir. We've had our first 2 competitions. Our first one was at Crete Monet. We got 3rd place in varsity division and the best sportsmanship award because kindness is key. And yours truly got best performer, so you know. And then at our second competition, we went to Mantino and got 5th place in the open division. And our best performer was Paisley Rojas.
Okay. Happy Black History, everyone. So I'm excited to tell you about all the cool events that Black Student Union has organized for this month to celebrate. So to start off, our theme for this year is African American in Labor, which was chosen specifically to recognize the impact that Black Americans have had in the workforce and the progress that has been made and is still being made today. And so one of the things that we've been doing is daily morning announcements where we had different BSU members share facts, stories, and key people, events, moments related to Black labor history. And this is not just to learn about history, but also to connect it to how the opportunities and challenges that we see today. And I think that's amazing. Another event that we've been doing is lunchtime chats. We actually had our first event last week, and it was really amazing. It's where we're bringing Black professionals from all different careers to talk to students. They share their experiences, their challenges, and give advice on different career opportunities. It's really amazing, and it was really fun because you get to see students engage and ask questions and really connect with the speakers. And so, plus some guests brought some goodies back, so that's a bonus. And we have another one coming up next Thursday, so students are welcome to come. They can bring their lunch, friends, everyone's welcome. And also, to wrap up the month, we have a big event called the Black History Month Cafe. And this is to celebrate Black arts. And to explain it, it's basically just like a talent performance. There's basically going to be singing, music, food, written poetry. Everything is going to be there. And it's just going to be a really good vibe. So anyone's welcome to come. It's going to be February 20th after school in the cafeteria. So, happy Black History Month.
All right, and then Batavia Music's always doing something, but last month we had the band, or beginning of this month actually, we had the band concert and the orchestra concert, and then next month there's a choir concert. And then at the BFAC there was just the Odd Couple play, which went on. I know we have a lot of students that are involved in theater, and they did a really good job, so we have a lot of pictures of that. And then,
RMS, guys. So they have their musical. It's actually this weekend, Beauty and the Beast. It's going to be so cute and so beautiful. Basketball, a direct quote from one of the middle schoolers I talked to. Girls basketball, she says, I think they're pretty good. So, middle school language, they're doing really good. There's a choir concert in a few weeks, and the show choir has been working hard. They're performing in a month from today, actually, at Showtime at the BFAC. So I would say come, but you're going to be here.
And then our last one is just like a student body concern. So as a student ambassador, we get the privilege to talk about a lot of the really fun things that are happening with students, but it's also our responsibility to voice the concerns of the student body. I've been personally asked, and I know a lot of the other ambassadors we've been talked to about this, to speak upon the concerns of the lack of e-learning snow days as compared to other districts across northern Illinois. With harsh weather concerns, students who drive run the risk of like car accidents, and those who walk run the risk of like slipping on ice and getting hurt. And then if you ride the bus, you kind of have those factors both combined. While I cannot speak on what has happened behind the doors of the District Board of Education, I know you guys probably have a very specific way of deciding that. I do want to talk about the fact that there have been numerous absences that happen because of this, just from parents calling out their students out of a concern. And then also I know staff probably struggle a lot with that when their kids are off of school and they need to watch them because they have a snow day, which is e-learning, but then they have to come to school and also be in the place for their students. As many of those who've expressed concerns see it, snow days keep the education intact through e-learning while also preserving the safety of BPS 101 students. So I just want to make sure the board and family was aware of these concerns. Thank you.
I have one question. You didn't say what time the improv show is on Thursday.
It's at 7 p.m.
Oh.
Can I say something as well? Thank you so much for bringing that. It's been a few years with student ambassadors, and I don't remember the last time you all came to us with like a concern on behalf of the students. Please continue to do that. And I'm sure Mr. Kim will respond to you soon about the process.
Thinking the same sentiment, RJ.
Unless you want to address it now or later.
Well, I can actually meet with you guys if you want. You're all in the same building.
Cool. Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Nice job. Thank you very much. All right. Really good.
One of you drop something,
Oh,
unless I'm seeing things on the floor.
No.
Closer to me.
Is it a
so
Ninja
it's your
Turtle?
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle. All right, BSPN.
Thank you.
All right, thank you
Bye-bye.
guys.
Thanks.
Next is BSPN, Brad and Leanne.
It's gonna
Or
be Ashley and
who
Leanne.
else?
Ashley and Leanne, yes.
Who am I,
Hi.
Brad?
You are not Brad. Hello, I'm Leanne Rodriguez, and this is Ashley Murtaugh. And thank you for having us come and talk to you about the Batavia Special Education Parent Network, also known as BSPN, because it's easier to say. Again, I'm Leanne Rodriguez. I'm the speech pathologist at the Early Childhood Center, and Ashley Murtaugh has 2 children in our district and has been with BSPN for many, many years, so she's been a great help in volunteering. I've been helping with BSPN since its origination back in 2012, so a very long time. It's been so wonderful to have wonderful parent volunteers help in networking with us in terms of just getting supports and everything to our families. And so every year we look forward to holding different events. The BSPN's vision is to provide a network and support for families to share resources and connect people so that they can get the information that they may need to help their children. And that's been our main charge. BSPN has hosted many family events such as educational parent opportunities on various topics, and we've had our BPS staff do the presentations for them. We've also offered our annual meet and greet. It's usually at Pal Joey's, and it's wonderful because parents and our special education directors can come and meet each other, and it's a really great kickoff to the school year. I think families really enjoy meeting our staff and then also getting to meet new families, and a lot of brainstorming and resources happen at that first kickoff of the year, so that's great. We're planning some social events, and some of those things are coming up, and we'll announce those soon after the resource fair, because that's been taking much of our time right now. But our biggest event is this one coming up this Thursday night, February 20th, at the Batavia High School in the cafeteria. It's from 6 to 7:30. Since our first resource fair, I looked back, there was 13 vendors in 2014, and we've grown to over 55. So we have over 55 vendors coming Thursday evening, and they range from recreational opportunities for our families, therapies, family supports. We even have the Batavia Fire Department and Police Department coming. So the families have really enjoyed. Again, if you have an opportunity to come and just hear the talking and just a lot of the sharing, that goes on in that room. It's really kind of amazing. So, but it is because of the support of our amazing parent volunteers that have co-chaired, that have really grown this event. So I really appreciate working with them to help make this so successful, as well as everyone that has helped. Holly Deesham has been instrumental, Teresa Rodriguez, Cindy Rodriguez, Carrie Rue. I mean, everyone's been so helpful in helping us to make this event such a big success for families. So we also have Nicole Smith, who couldn't be with us this evening, but the three of us have been working to kind of get everything organized for Thursday night. So I guess this is our way of getting more of the word out. So the event is open to BPS families, but everyone in the community is involved. We've reached out to all area districts, all near and far. So if you have anyone that you know that would like to come and join us and come and walk through and visit with the vendors, we would love to see them, including yourselves. So if you guys have some time to pop by, we would love to see you all. And children are invited. You know, parents have asked me about that. Sure, it's great for them to see who some of the therapies and the, again, Batavia Fire Department and Police Department, everyone. So please feel free to bring children with you. Let's see, anything else that I forgot? That's it. No? Okay. And then thank you again for the support. And if anyone, we do have a website, so it is the bspn-batavia.org is our main website, and then we also have a Facebook page, but you can always just, so if you have any questions. So, anything you have questions about? No? Look forward to seeing if you can make it. So, all right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And if I could just add, the BSPN Resource Fair is one of the largest in this region. They do a tremendous job. Thank you to both of you and everyone behind you helping with this event. Last year, I was able to meet families that travel from DuPage County, from the northern edge of Kane County, like from all over. They come and they're all like, this is amazing. We don't have this in our area. So kudos to you guys.
I was telling you that we've had districts come and see what we do so they could do their own, but they say it's a lot of work, so
They
let's
can't
come to
replicate
ours.
it.
So I'm like, that's fine. Come to ours. It's okay.
Thank
So, yeah.
Thank you. All right, board liaison, are there any committee updates? Rob?
So stipend committee, we haven't met yet. We're gonna meet later this week, on Thursday, so update next month. Resource responsibility committee, we did meet last week, discussed a few different things. Tony provided a staffing plan, at least initial, we didn't get into all the details, but initial staffing plan update and some of the funding issues that we may be encountering. Josh gave an update on the My School Bucks. We talked about that previously, and implementation is planned at Rotolo, I think on schedule. So things are moving along on that. And then Mark gave two updates, one on the activity buses. So maybe something we'll be talking about a little bit later on in the year, but the leases are ending on those buses, and we're gonna have to figure out what to do, whether to renew the lease or other options. So I'm sure we'll hear more about that a little bit later on. And then also the kits, the supply kits that are given to the kids, right, on the first day of school. Kind of the process we're gonna use. So a little bit, we talked a little bit about that, so. And that's it.
So we had the policy committee. First of all, PLAC hasn't met yet. They're meeting this Thursday. And then we had the policy meeting on 2/4. We talked a little bit about Title IX, and just where we're gonna be at. Press has to have their updates on April 2025, so we're just gonna follow them to see what language they're gonna use, and kind of go from there. And then we talked about the policy for paper flyers, our communication policy, and we are amending the procedure, so it's nothing that we have to vote on. It's just something that we talked about, and we agreed that paper flyers are gonna be good under certain conditions, which, one, the flyer has to be printed by the organization, not using school resources. Two, the organization has to give the flyers even by homeroom count, like there's 20 kids in this homeroom or 22 and so forth, or in packets of 25. Has to be translated in at least Spanish. And there has to be an established schedule. So like every quarter, they're allowed to drop these packets off. And then it's basically only for a type of like organizations like for BIC that are included in BIC. So it'd be like music buffs, PTOs, dance, things like that. And then also, we kind of talked about, because in our policy, it says the board approves, but then it also says superintendent or designee and so forth. So we're just gonna add a disclaimer on anything that's put out there that, you know, material that's not, BPS 101 does not imply endorsement that we're distributing this. And that's it. I think it was basically all we talked about.
Aaron, anything?
I can say that the Hall of Honor Subcommittee met earlier in the month, and next week the whole body is going to meet, and we had a large influx of candidates and supporting letters. So it's going to be pretty exciting. We're going to have a pretty tough job narrowing it down to a handful of inductees, but look for an announcement soon, because we'll be selecting the next Hall of Honor recipients.
RJ, come
I wasn't able to attend the Insurance and Benefits Committee meeting. Were you there, Steve? And would you have?
I believe I was. So you asking me what happened is
Just
gonna be a
remember what
challenge.
happened.
Yeah, so as you can tell, I didn't tell Steve I was gonna ask him. We can call members from the audience perhaps too. I don't know. Is there anything of relevance?
We can have an
Josh.
email update.
There's Josh. There's the man. Yeah.
If you feel anything is.
It's a call to the bullpen.
Significant.
A couple of things.
Yeah.
There's a couple of things.
Okay. You probably should be sitting up here anyways, right? Tony Khan?
So, to refresh your memory, I don't think you were there, Steve, by the way. So I don't think it's a memory thing. That you didn't remember the meeting.
getting worse.
Yeah. We spent a lot of time just giving new members an overview of different types of insurance plans. So PPO, HMO, like all the different types that there are, to start the process of getting ready for looking at, you know, possible changes or keeping things the same for our benefits. It was really just an orientation for new members.
You're right, I was not there.
You weren't there.
I don't think.
I'm glad you remember that now.
Thank you.
Forgot not being there.
That's the end of my reports.
Yeah.
That's the end of my reports.
Thank you, sir.
Way to go.
Anytime.
Your level of delegation is admirable. Anything on your side?
I have no committees, but there's a lot going on at the high school. I guess I want to share that I didn't get to go. I was in one of my nanny days, but they had a health and medical career event. So I asked for a little like summary of how that went. So they had 15 professionals in different health and medical careers, and over 100 students attend. And so basically, each of the professionals gave a little like intro, and then they had small like roundtables for group conversations. There was like dermatologist, healthcare administrator, physician assistants. We had a physical therapist / business owner, registered nurse, pediatrician, firefighter, paramedics. I mean, there's various speech pathologist, and Paige over at the high school had shared kind of some different student like feedback, and a lot of it was that students were really, they loved the opportunity to hear about some of the careers that maybe they didn't know about, or some that they thought they were interested in and were like, I'm gonna pass on that, but maybe I'll go and like kind of over here where I didn't think that I was actually interested. So it was really, really good for them to get to know a little bit more about specific healthcare professions. So that sounded like it was very successful. Like I said, they have a lot going on, even just this month. There's an HBCU plunge that's in Aurora. There is a college and career wellness affair that I guess we're co-host of. And that is at West Aurora High School for BH students and families on 2/28. And there's also it's like crazy how much stuff they have going on at like one time. But I would imagine like at the end of the year, it's probably even like going into this part, there's just so much that I'm noticing for the kids to really be able to kind of see what's out there as far as different colleges, just different career paths, and I love that they're able to like be immersed in it. But I don't know, I haven't been there, but that's, I mean, a little gist of what's going on there.
Thank you.
There you go.
I don't have any specific updates, other than we spoken about it at one point in time. We're meeting with the BEA and Tom and a couple of board members kind of before this meeting to kind of talk and to kind of quote unquote break bread a little bit. And today, we're still in the state, a number of have kind of been through it, we're still in the state of figuring out a little bit of what that meeting is and what it might morph into. So it was a really good meeting today, kind of just trying to figure out a little bit of the organization of it and see what it might drop into. So we've all got a little bit of homework to do, and we'll keep reporting back as it begins to do some, I think, really interesting and exciting things for the district. So, all right. All right. Next is consent agenda. Do I need to specifically state not item 6.8?
We already made that adjustment.
Okay, you did. All right. So according to our board policy, we designate a portion of the agenda as a consent agenda for those items that do not usually require extensive discussion before board action. These items are generally routine, recurring, and can be grouped together for efficiency. Steve, would you like to walk us through the agenda, please?
I would. 6.1 and 6.2 is the approval of the January 21st, 2025 regular meeting and closed session minutes. 6.3 is our monthly personnel report. 6.4 is our monthly approval of payroll and bills. 6.5 is the review of our closed session minutes. 6.6 is the acceptance of several donations. Thank you to Office Depot, Costco/Front Stream, the Illinois Department of Natural Resources, and BAF for a very large donation. We appreciate all of those. 6.7 is a textbook on display. 6.9 is the acceptance of the annual comprehensive financial report for fiscal year 2024. And 6.10 is the approval of the consent agenda.
All right. Anyone have comments or agenda?
I just have one comment. I had Cindy print out the annual comprehensive financial report. So my apologies, this is 136 pages, I think.
So you're gonna start reading it?
We're gonna start on page 1, and we're gonna, how much time we got? But I just wanna say that this is what's available on the website, so there's a lot of good information. So it's a long document, but it is actually organized, so it's very readable. You don't have to be an accountant to understand this. And so when it comes to the district finances, if people are curious where the money's coming and going, this is what's available to you. So this is, I'm very proud of this document. And this is, when we talk about transparency, I think this is a big part of what we're doing, so I want to point that out.
All right. Anything else?
Yeah, so I have a question. 6.7 textbook on display. So this is for sixth grade math to ninth grade math?
It actually is sixth grade math, but we have elementary students doing that, so it'll affect some elementary students through algebra in the ninth grade.
And then does this mean that the teachers in 6 through 9 will no longer be writing the curriculum anymore?
Correct.
And I'm just curious what prompted the change?
We saw stagnant math scores, which was really the impetus for taking a look at that. So we looked at our data. We have a math SALT team that's comprised mostly of middle school math teachers from each of the grade levels, and we looked at that. They have done a great job of adapting to the standards, and they really know their standards, but are really struggling to get that growth for our students, and that means differentiating for students, and that's where they needed a lot of that support. So we looked at a product that aligns with elementary, because students were having to learn kind of different vocabulary, which is even harder for our EL students. So looking at continuity from that elementary program where we're seeing good growth results. So this is the middle school program for that. So we took a look at that. We talked to a couple of schools that in the area that have adopted this. So it's something that the team unanimously said that they wanted to pursue. So it's out in a bunch of tote bags in the front lobby there, but this is something that that team felt would take their growth to the next level.
And the school districts that you talk to in the surrounding areas, they've seen growth with this curriculum?
Mm-hmm. Yep, they've seen good growth. They thought implementation went well, that there was good support for that product. Teachers weren't having to like scramble around for practice sets and other things like that, so they felt like this was the way to go.
And then will this, during the curriculum week in the summer, will this I'm just gonna say the 6th through 9th grade teachers, but maybe the elementary too. Does this mean that they are no longer be a part of it since this curriculum resource is already there?
It's more about the implementation and working through, because when you get these products, they come with so many different things that it takes years to actually learn how to really work through them. So I think their shift, and we'd actually start this at the end of this, next month, is really working them on implementation of that resource. So this is what it looks like, this is what the cadence of the classroom would look like, this is how you get students to participate. The rigor level is up, so we're gonna have to make sure that we're scaffolding instruction for our students to bring them up to those grade level standards. There's also a new course within that sequence, which is 7-8, which accomplishes both 7th and 8th grade curriculum, which will advance more students, because right now your only opportunity is in elementary school, where we do a 4-5 compacting. So this will allow some students to really accelerate and be in more advanced math classes when they enter high school.
Will this also bring back the, I'm gonna say the math 2 in our middle schools? I know we had math, like we had math 1, like 6th grade 1, you know, and I know we got away from the math 2. So is this gonna bring it kind of back a little bit, like, so we have that in between?
They're in 7th grade, in 6th grade, no, there'll still just be the 2 levels, regular on grade, and then students who are accelerated from elementary school. In 7th grade, they're at 2 levels right now, but there will be 3, because there'll be 7th grade, 7-8 compacted, and then students who are accelerated already. And then in 8th grade, there will continue to be those 3 levels. Yeah.
I have a question to piggyback on this. So when we say it's on display for the public, how would the public access the materials?
Yep, they come in, they can take a look at the materials, they can sit down and go through it and see we're gonna be offering to both our staff and our students. So there's student workbooks there, there's staff teacher guides there, so
They're
they
gonna
can
see
kind
the
of,
physical book.
they
They're
can
gonna see.
physically see them. We make sure that the publisher gives us copies of all that stuff, so the public or the board can look at that and see what we're gonna be offering to our students.
And then what's the mechanism for feedback? If someone
There's a little, it's very basic, so there's a little note card right there, you put your name and address on the back of that, and then you can write your comments, and then I give all of that to the Board of Education. I can say that doesn't happen very often, but whatever feedback that I get goes to the Board of Education before their vote next month, so that they can see what the public is thinking about that.
So you don't have to set an appointment to do this or anything?
Nope, just come on in during regular working hours, and we'll make arrangements for you to take a look at the materials.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, so it's digital and hard copy, or is it just hard
There's a
copy?
digital platform that the students will use, and then all the hard copy materials are here.
Well, Aaron, you stole my question, so good job.
Sorry.
It's okay, no, it was good, so thank you very much. One thing I will say is I remember as my kid was going through elementary school and didn't quite make the cut for accelerated, and this is my kid that's working his way toward chemical and nuclear engineering in college, kind of missed that little step up that he could have had in middle school, so he just kind of jumped right in high school to the kind of accelerated classes that he could, and it was a little harder, you know, so.
Yeah, this is, I think this will be a really good plan for students. Every kid develops differently in terms of their math skills. Some are ready in elementary to accelerate. What we don't want to do is to create gaps in math learning. So when I started in this position, we would skip kids right from 4th grade math to 6th grade math. So we took a whole year of math away from them. And while students are very bright and are able to kind of cope with some of those missing skills, as math gets harder, and it does, we started to see gaps. So even some of our brightest students were struggling with some math concepts in high school because they literally we didn't teach them anything in 5th grade math. So the compacting allows students to get that whole curriculum, so we're not creating gaps as they move and progress towards more advanced math concepts. So that compacting in 4th and 5th, it's fast and furious, but our teachers take them through that and get them ready for that 6th grade math. And then now we'll have the option in 7th and 8th grade. So a lot of parents were in similar situations where they're like, well, my kid didn't get it, or I feel like they're ready. Well, now there's another option for them. They don't have to take pretest or other things like that, when you don't give kids instruction, we're not expecting them to be super competent. with that. So now we're gonna be giving that, those students that instruction and then kind of moving them forward into more advanced math. But I will tell any parent in Batavia's system, you can start in the lowest level math class in high school and reach Calculus 2. So we have that ability because we're on the block schedule and the ability to double up on math classes. So wherever a kid wants to go, we're able to accommodate that for them, if you want to do that.
And then one other thing, I know you're not a fortune teller, but when would you expect, when we implement this, to see some type of growth? You said because it was kind of stagnant for a while, so in those areas that are stagnant, when are you looking forward to seeing an uptick?
People talk about like the J curve of change, right? So like sometimes you see a little dip before you get better. I actually don't necessarily believe that in all cases, especially with mathematics. I do think you can start to see progress almost right away with students, and that's because they're being exposed to higher level materials. And what we know about students is they will rise to those high expectations. So I think our students are going to be exposed to tougher and tougher mathematics in a quicker pace, and I think that they will respond, and then those things pay off when we see their IAR test scores or MAP test scores in terms of their growth. So I think we will see rapid growth. Will all of our students be proficient right away? No, but we also want to make sure that kids are being exposed to these advanced mathematic concepts, and I think that's a hugely important thing that this new program will give us. We had really good feedback from that team. I was actually not expecting it to go the way that it went, but that team really dug in. They wanted to look at the materials. They wanted to kind of experience it. They were adamant about talking to other outside groups, other teachers who have gone through this change process to see what their experience was like. I really commend them for all the work that they put into it. Our high ability teachers at the elementary school were like, can we start this right now? Because they were really excited about that. And, you know, sometimes that transition to high school is not always easy, especially with math. Those algebra teachers that came to our meetings and saw the materials were right on board with us. They thought this was the right way to go for students. So I was really pleased with the reception that this got.
Thanks, everybody. Thank you, Brad.
Yep.
Any other questions on any other items? Okay. I will entertain a motion to approve all items on the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Motion by RJ, second by Kilberg. Cindy, please lead us in a roll call vote.
Kilberg,
Yes.
Sliger,
Bless you.
Yes.
Mathis,
Yes.
Meadows,
Yes.
Arlandu,
Yes.
Gonzalez Thomas.
Yes.
Motion passes. Thank you very much. Tom, is there anything to report under your FOIA or treasurer or FOIA reports?
No, this monthly report is being presented to the board, and you'll see the FOIA requests were granted.
Okay. All right. Treasurer requests or reports, anything? Nothing, since Tony's
No,
not here today?
no, there was nothing unusual to report on what's been provided to the board.
Okay, great. All right, action item 8.1, adopt resolution supporting Vision 2030. Tom?
Yes, so, board, we spent some time last meeting, discussing and reviewing Vision 2030. Kind of just to recap, all of our documents are public and et cetera. If I were to boil it down, the reminder about Vision 2030 is, for one, for us to focus on an enhanced future public educational system as a state, which also obviously impacts BPS 101. That ranges from our support of creating a strong pipeline of new educators coming into our district, retaining our educators in our district, and diversifying the workforce, right? It also includes providing students with an increased opportunity, as you kind of been actually hearing tonight. And Danielle, thank you for raising what you saw and shared at the high school and what's been reported to you. You know, those are the types of experiences we're looking to be really aggressive about in providing students a pathway for any of their passions and pursuits that they want. And one thing I wanted to share is that I think that's a part of what the beauty of our unit district structure is, and what we do really well here in Batavia, is that starts at the elementary schools, at a foundational level of trying to create a sense of belonging for all of our kids. Because if they can start thinking about, like, you know, what Louise White's doing, is they believe they're attending the best school ever, and they love coming to school, and the school rocks, Well, that is nurturing the ability for every kid to find a spot for them here in our district. And we're gonna continue to work towards that. And that same thing at the middle school. Brad and I are talking with our teams at middle school and high school about how do we keep now reaching deeper into the middle school to start thinking about career pathways and just pathways in general, right? Post-secondary in the future. That's something we're working on too. Right now, we've done a great job with eighth grade. We're gonna continue to drill back down lower and lower and have our students start to think about what are possible futures for them. And so I think that's the first component of Vision 2030. I don't know how you don't say yes to that. That's just me. The second piece I'd say is the accountability aspect. You know, you've heard me talk a lot about our district's goals around our strategic plan. I will be sharing more about that to the board and our work with DMG and how they're helping us refine our goal setting, both for the board and then for the administration and then each building and their principals. We're working on those things and should hopefully be able to get you to that final product this semester. But in a bigger sense with the state of Illinois is refining its own accountability systems. So, you know, you've heard probably some of the talk and reading in the materials that you've been given, how the state will be spending the next 2 years realigning how they handle their school ratings. Right now, it's impossible for every school in the state of Illinois to reach the most excellent ratings in their system, but yet then their middle proficiency target has the widest band. And so they're taking a revisit at that so that it's not based on a bell curve system and that districts hitting those marks would be able to receive those categorical ratings of high marks. And that would be really great because that will reward the efforts those teachers, support staff, and principals are taking at each of those buildings across the state of Illinois. For our district, we've had schools in our district that received proficient marks when really they should have been exemplary. They just happened to be in the wrong year because other schools kind of met certain scores too. So that gives you an idea of what I'm talking about. And the last piece being, and this is a big one, Governor Pritzker will be giving a State of the State address tomorrow. And this will be about evidence-based funding from my perspective and for your perspective as a school board. What does funding look like for public education in the state of Illinois? And so the last big pillar of Vision 2030 is about maintaining a priority to fully fund public education in the state of Illinois. And, you know, Drew and I talk often when we take our social studies hats and put those on, you know, we talk about democracy, you know, the foundation of our country and productive citizens, et cetera, et cetera. We talk about and just people in our society and community. I think supporting public education is a no-brainer for me as well. So last month, we talked about that. Board, you gave me permission to bring this forward as an action item for the board to act on as a resolution of support. And there's nothing that you would need to do in following up. We are simply saying that as a district, we support this vision. Any questions?
Any questions?
My question, and again, it's not like this isn't for you to answer because it's for the state basically, because it's like, I just want to know how successful Vision 2020 was according to the state, you know, or if you guys know how you feel that BPS vision, and when we adopted Vision 2020, if we were successful or not. And if the state really accomplished what they wanted to. I know they had like their goals, and it's like their vision, but I'm just curious of how the state actually did.
Let me do my best to answer that. I think that's a really fair question. There's a couple of layers to this. One, I believe the Vision 2020, including Vision 2030, are aspirational statements. These are things we are shooting for. High stakes, aggressive progress and growth. So will we hit everything? I don't know. Probably not. Maybe not, right? But what I'd also argue, though, what Vision 2020 produced was, for the first time in the state's history, consistently arriving checks to all the school districts on their quarterly payments from the state, and us able to have very predictable funding. Two, I would argue that as you've seen from our recent NAEP scores and even our own district's performance goals, I would argue that we are seeing progress in all academic-related areas. Are we perfect? No. But I think in the aspirational sense, Raquel, I think that's a great question. I think it gives us, it's like our strategic plan. It gives us a place to aim and go for. Because the last comment I would make is, I don't think it's a destination. This is an ongoing journey. The work will always continue. When we think about how we're preparing our students for a future with technology embedded in their career paths, that is going to be ground that moves so quickly that the moment we install written procedures and curriculum and protocol, the world has probably already changed on us. You know what I mean? So the challenge that we're actually as a DCC having conversations about, and my partner in crime here, Drew Ray, and I are tasked with kind of creating some kind of blueprint to share with the DCC, right, for a draft. We've already begun curating some resources to take a look at that. Is that it's just moving that quickly. So I think Vision 2030, when you look at Vision 2020, I don't think people would, contend that every hope was fully fulfilled in it, but I would argue that without it, people may have been aiming wandering aimlessly. That's what I meant to say. Sorry.
I like the word.
Does that make sense?
It does. I mean, I think it's, right, it's like it's a vision, right? And it's a great vision. I would also kind of like, and again, maybe the state will do this and you guys might know more, but like, what are the actual actions or steps to get us to keep students safe? I mean, we have our own plans, but it's like, is the state gonna say to, the school district, hey, we have this new platform and it'll be free to you guys for X, Y, Z, or the keeping high-quality educators in front of students and having, the diverse backgrounds. It's like, well, it's great. Of course, we want that. But how do we get that?
I will say, I should work for the ROE right now. In defense of ISBEs, or in advocacy of what they've done, one of the examples I'll give you in trying to help diversify the teaching workforce has been changes into certification and licensure. So as we've increased and expanded pathways in schools, one of the things that the state is now allowing are secondary career shifts for people, and for them to be able to count their work experience over their career. I believe it's a minimum of 2,000 hours or more to apply for a kind of an alternative licensure, educational licensure to become a teacher. That didn't exist in the past. In the past, there was a very rigid, traditional approach to how you could become a teacher. But with the teacher shortage and with the increased expectations and mandates that have been put on school districts, I would say that the state realized we need to help the schools figure out how to be able to grow their teaching base. So that would be one example I would share with you that was a good example, a good product of what Vision 2020's work is. And I think we're gonna have to keep pushing that envelope in Vision 2030.
Anyone else? All right, so guilt trip notwithstanding, I will entertain a motion to adopt the resolutions supporting Vision 2030 as presented.
So moved.
So moved by Danielle.
Second.
By Aaron. Cindy, please lead us in a roll call vote.
Gonzalez Thomas,
Yes.
Arlandu,
Yes.
Meadows,
Yes.
Sliger,
Yes.
Mathis,
Yes.
Hilberg,
Yes.
Motion passes, thank you. 8.2, authorized rental rate adjustment for the Batavia Fine Arts Center. Dominic, please walk us through it.
Hello, everyone. Great to see you again. There aren't a whole ton of changes in here. So, for example, Category 1 has absolutely no changes to rental rates there. There are some slight changes to the daily and weekly packages for Category 2 renters, and then Category 3 renters see the larger side of the rental increases there. And that's the majority, in fact, all of our, we don't have any really Category 2 rental rates, renters from us. Category 3 is really 100% of our renters that are with us. Category 1 would be things like Beefy, music buffs, stage, those kinds of organizations. Category 2 would be other things that benefit the students, other organizations, such as Boy Scouts or things like that. And then Category 3 is everyone else in the world who rents from us. You'll notice we're lessening the gap between daily and weekly rental rates. We're trying to get that a little bit closer together. And there's no changes to the ticketing fees that there are. One small change is we require people to sell tickets through us. And if they had a weekly package in the past, they could get a buyout included with them. We're getting rid of that buyout now. It will make things a lot easier, first of all, logistically for us if we sell all tickets, because people call us anyways. We spend staff resources correcting people on where to get tickets and things like that, so that will simplify all of that. Some new things that we have, there's some people who rent for very, 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 very long days, and I will mean 5:30 in the morning till 11:30 at night. So some really, really long rentals that might be there. So just a staff meal package. When you exceed a certain amount of time, that a meal package is provided to the staff, and then they would be billed out for that meal at the market rate plus 20%. And then we have a new product, the company digital download, which is if a company comes in and they want to provide all of their, say, dancers or somebody with a digital download of their rental event there, they could purchase as a dance studio or something for X amount of dollars their package, and then they would get free digital downloads for their event to those people. The last big one is staff rate changes. And that would be just $2 annually for, and this isn't on a payout, this is on a billing towards the renter. $2 starting on July 1 of 2026. Annually for 3 years would be a $2 rate increase per person on that. A lot of people, obviously, are raising their rates, and this, we think, keeps us competitive, but also helps us grow with the times that we're facing right now. So I answer any questions that you have, too.
All right. Nice job. Thank you. All right. I will entertain a motion for the board to approve the rental rate and fee adjustments for BFAC as presented to align with market conditions, cover rising operational costs, and sustain service excellence. Second by Raquel, second by Rob. Cindy, please lead us in a roll call vote.
Meadows,
Yes.
Sliger,
Yes.
Arlandu,
Yes.
Gonzalez Thomas,
Yes.
Mathis,
Yes.
Hilbert,
Yes.
All right, motion passes. All right. Mark, while I read this, you can step up for 8.3, rejection of all bids for demolition and flooring. Go for it.
So this has to do with J.B. Nelson and Alice Gustafson, the flooring for the hallways, cafeteria / multipurpose room, and gyms. When you see that, it's obviously much different than when I come up here. I don't usually reject bids. Actually, this is the third time since I've been in this role. So kind of the process, what happens is kind of going back to, when this first started, pretty much about 9 months ago. Basically, we get the architect, they go and do a design of what we're looking for, get feedback. Also with that design, you're given a budget. So then that budget kind of should put you to stay within that budget. As we progress through this, we have the bid opening about 2 weeks ago. And with that bid opening, there's 2 trades involved in here. So you have the demolition of the floor, and then you actually have the flooring installers. Both of those trades came, demolition's not as high, but the flooring contractors came in much higher than what was budgeted. Actually, the flooring itself was over the entire budget. So obviously, being as fiscal responsible as I can be with this, that's the reason we're rejecting these bids. So then the next step is, we have to figure out why. So in the scope review, a lot of this has to do, I would say most of it has to do with the flooring type and how it's installed, as we found out. And the other thing is some timing. Contractors got very busy very quickly this year. And in that, usually what happens is you kind of get higher prices at that point too. So there's a couple things we're looking at. One, a different product, and maybe packaging this with other projects that already have, kind of moving forward. So unfortunately, the timing of this can't be done this summer, even to go back and to try to rebid this. Actually, probably, even with a different product, I believe it'll even be higher. So we're looking to get this bid out, probably late summer, early fall, then to give more of a range of when they can do it, so they could get in over winter break to do the flooring in some areas, and then spring break, and then obviously the summer of '26. So really, that's kind of where we're at right now. Now, there's repairs that have to be done on the floor, so there are some repairs that will be done this summer, some minor repairs, and, as things come up, we'll just have to kind of, unfortunately, continuing to, as I call it, get the bigger and bigger Band-Aid out until we can get it replaced.
What type of floor were we trying to get for them?
Well, it was a vinyl type product, but it wasn't the traditional VCT. It was a little bit different, and the labor was in the other piece, in the gymnasiums mainly, and how it was installed, and the laser cutting and things that they had to do, because they had to bring the product in, get it laid out, and then send it back out and bring it back in. So that was part of it that we're finding out. So this flooring is used in other districts, even in talking to other districts and giving square foot costs, they're like, whoa, that's really high, and we just put this in '23. So some of the things that we're still trying to figure out why we're at, and I don't unfortunately have those answers yet, but that's, what we're working towards.
I appreciate you doing this, because this is a pretty easy thing to say, hey, we gotta go back to the drawing board, because people are anticipating a new floor.
Right, yeah, when you reject bids, it's not an easy thing to do, at all, but, in this case, it's, with the whole warm, safe, dry plan, obviously there was a budget and we presented this, and especially in this one, I don't wanna, and we're still relatively early in this too, and I think we have time, but anytime, and you've heard this before, anytime you push things another year, it doesn't usually get cheaper, things go up. But at the rate that this was at, it was about just shy of 70% over, so 170% over. So not double, but it was very expensive. And again, as they were reading the bids off, I knew, I was like, ooh, but.
When you reject the bids, these same contractors, they'll be able to rebid when you have like new specs and stuff.
Yeah, as many can bid whenever they want. The one thing is, in this type, for me, it doesn't happen that often, but I would imagine, I know in other districts this happens, so, they basically, put their bids in, they have a square foot cost that they're at, they get the product and they know how much it takes to install. So for this type, I wouldn't think, and, Craig can correct me if I'm wrong, but in flooring type, it's not as big of a process as maybe some other projects, some more in-depth ones.
Any other questions? All right, I will entertain a motion that the board reject all bids for the trade package 02A-1 demolition and 09F flooring at Alice Gustafson and JB Nelson Schools.
So moved.
So moved by Raquel, second by RJ. Cindy, please lead us in a roll call vote.
Arlandu?
Yes.
Mathis? Sliger?
Yes.
Gonzalez Thomas?
Yes.
Meadows?
Yes.
Kilberg?
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passes. All right, 8.4, authorized purchase of laptops and desktops. Dave Thurby, please.
All right, well, I am here for my big annual refresh cycles. So this one is for staff devices. So this is desktops and laptops for all the elementaries. It totals, what do I have, 368 laptops and about 25 desktops. This year, I actually threw it out to a bunch of different vendors as well to try to help get numbers down. Just hearing Mark's conversation with pricing, it's in the same aspect of the tech world as well. I'm trying to get as much as I can for the dollar amounts that they want for these devices. As I mentioned in this too, tariffs are also part of this, so we're trying to avoid some of that. So right now, I think we did pretty dang good this round. It is one of our bigger refresh cycles, being that it's all elementaries and 25 desktops as well. It's not a small one. I've tried to balance these cycles out because if you guys don't know this, there's 3 cycles that my department runs. It's high school, middle school, and elementary. So I've tried to balance them as close to the same dollar amounts as I can, just based on the sheer number. It's easier to budget, right? Everything has come in higher than, of course, anyone's even thought these days. So we were able to work out some stuff with HP this round to solve that solution. So this is for the laptops and desktops. Any questions?
Anyone? Good job, Dave, thank you. All right, I will entertain a motion that the board authorize purchase of 368 laptops and 25 desktops from IT Savvy in the total amount of $438,121. Moved by Rob.
Second.
Second by Aaron. Please, Cindy, please lead us in a roll call vote.
Gilbert,
Yes.
Mathis,
Yes.
Sliger,
Yes.
Meadows,
Yes.
Gonzalez Thomas,
Yes.
Arlandu,
Yes.
Thank you, motion passes. 8.5, authorized purchase of Chromebooks.
So another cycle. So about 2 years ago, you guys approved my Chromebook cycles to move to 4 years. So we are on year 3 of that. Again, prices are skyrocketing. So this year I took the advantage of getting probably close to 12 different suppliers, manufacturers, I'm sorry. So like you're talking Dell, Acer, Asus, HP, you name every company, to throw a number at us. What we ended up creating was kind of a bidding process that was like a battle, essentially. It actually worked out pretty well for us. Some of the technologies are changing. So some Chromebooks actually came with faster Wi-Fi, some came with less battery power, so we were able to kind of negotiate a little bit of the hardware as well as services. So on this, if you notice, this comes with a 4-year upfront coverage that I normally have to come to you annually to renew some of the other Chromebooks every year. Now, this will actually solve that problem up front. We saved so much up front to actually get this, and essentially I got a year for free in doing that. So this basically covers this entire cycle right out of the gate for 4 solid years. Touchscreen, non-touch both, so 1st, 5th, and 9th grade. So this puts us in a great spot for our plan. And it seems to be going really well as far as the breakage and things like that. Currently, with what we're doing with the touchscreens, we were a little worried initially because there's obviously like the Gorilla Glass screen type problems that when you drop them, they shatter. It actually hasn't been very bad at all. We did put some cases on them to help with that, but this warranty, of course, covers all of that. We've had some get ran over by a car. We had one get dropped down a staircase. Like, these crazy things happen. I get it.
Yours?
So
No. I did not drop down the staircase. No. Something happened.
it has been dropped.
I don't know what happened.
So I'm trying to keep everything covered just for prolonging, and trying to save every buck we can. So this actually worked out really well for us this round, and I'll explain a little more on the next item due to that.
Any questions?
Good job, Dave, on this one.
Thanks.
2 for 2, sir. All right. I will entertain a motion to authorize the purchase of 1,077 Chromebooks from IT Savvy in the total amount of $439,027. So moved by RJ, second by.
Second.
I'm gonna let Danielle have this one. Danielle, Cindy, please lead us in a roll call vote.
Mathis,
Yes.
Sliger,
Yes.
Meadows,
Yes.
Gilbert,
Yes.
Arlandu,
Yes.
Gonzalez Thomas,
Yes.
All right. All right, Dave, authorized purchase of wired network equipment.
So I tried to keep this less techy on purpose because it gets pretty complicated pretty quickly. Back in '22, you guys approved me to replace all of our Wi-Fi access points in the classrooms. Through that process, we chose Juniper Mist, so all of our little access points we have, it improved coverage and performance massively through that process. It was actually part of a phased process, so these access points we have in the classrooms actually can get faster. So we'd had a plan put forth in capital projects to refresh all of the actual closet gear that runs all of that. It runs our internet, it provides Wi-Fi to all of our classrooms, access points, so that's how it's kind of like distributed, if you will, to the classrooms. Our current stuff is around 7, almost 8 years old. That's a really good shelf life considering how hard we hit stuff. And power hits and things like that tend to impact that as well. This was a very difficult process this year. Numbers started almost 3 times what they should have, similar experience. But we got to the point where I was able to negotiate quite a bit. Our RFP process we put out, I think I had 6 different people that put out proposals for that. Really, it was across the board as far as numbers, if it actually fit our district, and as far as compatibilities and things to move forward on our main plan. We ended up reviewing those, and Conres, with their Juniper quote, came through as the winner for that. Basically now, this will put us in a wonderful spot moving forward that I can actually start phasing some of this. I think this is kind of the last time we'll be able to do all of it at once, like we've done for the past 15 years. Prices are that much different now. We're trying to keep the speeds up for the kids and the staff so everything stays nice and fast and reliable, but it's coming at more of a cost as part of that. There is also some subscription type things that come into play for a lot of these things, of course, which I hate talking about subscriptions. Everyone's got them now. So this covers us for a 5-year subscription plus the hardware warranties on everything. And I know the E-rate conversation on here is a little confusing. Essentially, without E-rate funding, the total would be $675,973. If it was not approved, that's what we would pay. It's already kind of going through the process. I'm trying to get this done before tariffs and other things affect that number. So we're trying to get it all pre-approved ahead of time. So once it is, the $525 is what we would actually pay with all of my E-rate discounts and funding that we've had to pay for this. So we're saving right around like $150,000 doing it that way. But this lets us put out some really good performing gear and let us last quite a bit longer. So, any questions?
When will you know if that's approved, the E-rate?
I believe it's April, which I see no reason not to at this point. We're just kind of putting all of this ahead so I can get it submitted ASAP.
By ASAP, are you still planning, you and Josh, to go do that now?
Yes,
After
I'm
approval?
actually literally going to go send this off tonight, so.
Before prices
Tomorrow
change.
is when the tariff hits certain companies, so.
You better vote now.
All right, without further delay, I will entertain a motion that the board authorize purchasing Juniper Mist Network equipment, 5 years of support at no cost, at a cost not to exceed.
There you go.
Thank you, caught myself. At a cost not to exceed $675,973.
So moved.
So moved by Rob, second by RJ. Cindy, please lead us in a roll call vote.
Meadows,
Yes?
Gonzalez Thomas,
Yes.
Kilberg,
Yes.
Mathis,
Yes.
Arlandu,
Yes.
Sliger.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passes. All right, item 8.7 does not require any motion, but Tom will lead us through it.
So this is the administrative procedure that Raquel was referencing earlier that came out of board policy. We had agreed that we wanted to bring this to the board. Typically, procedures are something that the administration and with any stakeholder groups might be working on administrative policies for procedures, right? But in this particular case, when we talked about this, we had so many stakeholder groups kind of weigh in on this, right? When we went to BIC, et cetera, and principals, we figured in a forward-facing way to push this policy, procedure out there so people could see it. My apologies, board, I should have placed it under information, not under action. So that's why there's no motion required, but it's publicly displayed for anyone who's reading our board packet to be able to see it. So that's it.
Any questions? All right. So no concerns. Consensus seems to be go for it.
Sounds good.
All right. Next item is board matters. Tom, can you lead us in the overall description of this?
Yeah, so board, near the end of last semester, we had talked about the bullying flow chart that the administration created. And then we had received several different points of feedback from individual board members. And then Brad and Holly worked to try and fold in your recommendations. The reason why maybe there isn't a complete overhaul based on what everyone suggested or recommended was because there were a couple of points that might have been conflicting to put onto paper that didn't completely match and sync up in a process. The reason why we're bringing it tonight just for the board to have a conversation is, when it was presented, there seemed to be a little bit amongst the board, when I rewatched the recording, there was a little bit of just, I don't wanna call it confusion, just a differing point of view or to memory to this particular project that the board had asked the administration to complete. So I'm just asking if there's anything, this is publicly posted and Holly's gonna show you exactly where it's been. And ask for the board to give us, as a Board of Education, if there's any other further work you wanna see with this particular document.
Yeah, so the goal on this one is to kind of talk ourselves through it, and I'm gonna kind of ask each one, and RJ, who left? I was gonna ask RJ to start.
Can Holly show you where it's at?
So we're gonna go through that, and then I'm giving you guys a moment to formulate if you hadn't, so I'm gonna kind of call on everybody kind of one by one to give their input, and then we'll talk about it.
I'll just show you from the BPS website, but if you went to any one of the schools' websites, you would go through this same process.
Okay.
So on our main page, and then you go to students, and it's under the school safety helpline. This is where all students, and safe adults are to go when they have concerns about safety. And within that is a flow chart of, once you go through this process, this is what the school does. So you'll see here, this is the process we go through once an incident is reported. And there's the flow chart. And these are some of the things that we added, so that the Safe to Help QR code to go right to that page if somebody was, had seen this displayed and they wanted to report this. And then here's all the individual steps. And then additional considerations are noted here at the bottom. So if you wanted to walk through this or ask any questions, we're happy to answer them for you.
RJ had stepped out for a minute, but we're gonna kind of give every board member kind of an opportunity if they have additional comments. This is one, if I recall correctly from a board meeting, it was kind of an idea you kind of proffered at one point in time, so I was gonna let you kind of start because as Tom, I don't know when you stepped out, but Tom had said there's kind of talking through, and at the last board meeting we reviewed back in last semester, there's some additional kind of direction or comments brought up.
Yeah.
Trying to figure out if we need to provide better clarity.
I'm okay. I sent Tom a separate email feedback on everything.
So this is currently kind of sitting at about where you would be comfortable with it.
Pretty darn close.
Okay, that's fine.
Is there a link to this that we have?
Yeah, so,
'Cause I can't see.
we just walked
Even
through, so I'll
if I'm
show
talking
you
to Cindy,
really
I-
quick.
You just stepped out while she was walking through it.
Yep, that's okay. So this is the main BPS website. It's also under each of the different schools. So if you went
put
to
up
like bhs.bps101.net, you would also find it there. Under the students tab for school safety helpline, there's the information to go to report an incident. And then this is the process we go through once an incident is reported. And then that's where the flow chart is.
Sorry to make you repeat all that.
No worries.
It's worth it seeing it twice.
Please feel free to, other people feel free to. I don't need the floor to talk about it. It's fine for other people if they want to talk about it.
Okay. Aaron, anything you want to add?
I agree with RJ. I'm comfortable with where it's at right now. I will say that QR code, I mean, I might be not remembering this right, but like that's posted in the schools, correct? Did you say that?
Yeah, it is.
I was in the middle school for an event and I saw that posted in many places, so.
Yep,
also on
they're
their
specific, they're specific that Safe to Help is in each level. So there are specific posters for elementary students versus middle school versus high school, based on like, if like a kid in elementary school doesn't have a phone, they're given more specific instruction on to find a safe adult and how to help process through making a report.
Okay. Raquel?
No, I don't have anything, but, and I know that this is posted on our website, but is it also posted in the schools? I thought maybe we were gonna have the full chart in like the school offices, I don't remember, but I thought,
It is not currently posted in the school, so. This is like a public document for if you were gonna report, this is where you would.
What is posted in the schools is a QR code and how to
For
report.
Safe to Help, how to report an
Yeah,
incident.
right. This document in and of itself is kind of like the next step, I guess it would be.
Yes.
Okay, I just wanna,
The reporting mechanism's also on student IDs. That's actually the board's, that was a board
I think it was
request.
Raquel,
Yeah,
you
Raquel,
mentioned
you
it.
asked that.
and
It's a
an
good idea.
amazingly fast turnaround, I think, because the IDs were coming out very quickly afterwards, so, thank you. Rob?
Yeah.
Oh, no, Raquel, anything else? I'm sorry. Okay. Rob?
A few comments here, just, one, thank you. I mean, I think we, as a board, gave the feedback to come up with, this flow chart to help as a guide, and, to me, a very sensitive subject, but very visually appealing, looking at this flow chart. So, from that aspect, great job on, that communication, process there. And then, once again, I feel like this is a living document, to borrow a phrase from Superintendent Kim earlier in the evening. It's not a destination, it's a journey. And, you know, as we learn, as we move along, you know, we may make adjustments to this and update it as needed. So, you know, this, not set in stone, I guess, is my perspective on this flow chart. And I don't think it necessarily has to be prescriptive in the sense that it doesn't have to cover all types of scenarios, because you won't get that, in my opinion. But it gives a high-level guide, and we know we operate in the shades of gray. It's not black and white, and this is the guide that kind of helps us, or helps communicate the process that we're using. Yeah, is there going to be some variation? I'm sure, maybe in every case. But those are my comments. I think this is a great starting point.
A couple of things I just want to clarify, and other board members can kind of put in on this question because you brought it up. One of them is, like you said, it's a living document. Do you see that there's a need for, is it a living document that the staff and the admin and can make adjustments kind of on the fly with, you know, research and depth of knowledge and everything else, that they need to kind of come back to the board on kind of these tweaks and adjustments? If it's not like an overall structural change, like if they're like, oh, we want to get rid of this thing, then maybe they should come back. But if they're making adjustments, I'm asking how everybody kind of feels about that, to give them kind of agency on that.
I think they have to be in alignment. Like, take the high school, and if the high school wants to change some verbiage or something, I think they need to get alignment with all the other principals.
Kind of like within the district itself? Okay. Do you think they need to come back to us if there's those types of changes?
I think it probably depends on case by case, what verbiage they want to change.
Okay. So kind of if they feel it's significant enough to bounce it off, then that would be the way to go, or if there's a change, kind of a notification of, hey, we tweaked it, sort of thing. Okay.
I mean, because again, this is a procedure, it's not a policy.
Right.
However, we deemed in the policy meetings that if it's something that's procedurally that's gonna affect us, like, right, in a certain way, then we should bring it to the board so we all know.
So it's an awareness thing, more than anything else. Okay.
Kind of like the one procedure for the, you know, paper flyers.
Right.
You know, just so that we as a board are, we know, hey, we're gonna allow this with these stipulations. you
Right.
know.
Okay. All right.
I agree with that.
So, thank you so much. You definitely, I was looking over my feedback and you definitely addressed it, and especially bullet point 9, what I thought didn't make sense because it was prevention and education, but you adjusted it, so it makes sense to me, so if I'm your only audience, thanks. But no, it was about prevention, but if you believe you're a victim, the prevention part seemed like, well, that should have been first, right? But now you're saying we're learning from the experience and we're gonna continue to grow. Just to throw this out there for future, since I'm not for long here, some other suggestions that I threw out there was, and I don't know if we have this, a step-by-step for the person who reports it. If they would like to see what's gonna happen next, flow chart, doesn't have to be a flow chart. High-level overview of the process, that's definitely done. A step-by-step for school admin, so they understand what happens once they report something. And maybe even, parents of the victim, family of the victim, or someone who was reported on. You've been reported, here's what happens next. Just so they can see, what am I expecting? Because I feel like a lot of people are in the blind from what I've heard. So I just think the more information up front that can be given, the more comfortable they'll feel once the reporting occurs. That's all.
Do you guys tend to walk through people as to like what the next steps are and what it tends to look like? Because I imagine those steps may be different depending on what the issue is at hand and who are involved and the age levels and everything else.
Yeah, I just completed an investigation and walked the families through, that were affected through that process.
Both sides of it?
Both sides of it.
Okay.
I don't know if something on the website's particularly useful, you know, in those situations. I
Right.
think like that personal touch is really, they need to be heard. The family I was working with, like, felt like they weren't being heard, so, you know, sitting with them, talking with them, hearing about their situation, I think is, to me, really important. So like that personal touch is really important. I think where we could weave in some of those things, RJ, is developing like some communication protocols, because sometimes we're in a rush to communicate with families. We may not give them all of the information that they might need or think that they might need. So we could develop some communication templates. So as administrators are working with families on multiple sides of these issues through it, they get like a full kind of picture of what that is, kind of the next steps, or here's where I'm gonna go. I did that verbally with that family and the other families that I worked with, but I think maybe like a follow-up email saying, here's an email of where I'm gonna go next, or what the next steps in those process, to me might be valuable. And that way it's, as Raquel said, it's consistent and aligned across the district. And administrators aren't having to make that up while they're investigating and talking to families and all those pieces. So to me, that might be a way to weave in some of that alignment and consistency, but further communication. I think it's always best to do it with the families whenever possible, but sometimes people are enraged, upset, and they're not hearing necessarily. So I think a follow-up email with more detailed information might be the next thing for us to take a look at doing.
Anything else, RJ? Okay, Danielle?
It's interesting you put me last time. I know I've talked more about this than anybody would probably like to. Tom, what meeting were you referring to when you looked back on? Was it like one of the last ones? Was it the first one?
No, the last one when we finished this draft and shared it, it was the, what did I watch? It was the November board meeting or the October board?
Okay.
When we came back to the board with it.
Okay. I guess and I don't want to take up too much time here because it sounds like everyone here is pretty okay with where we're at. I'm not.
Don't hold back. Talk whatever you
I will, yeah, I will.
Okay.
When we were initially talking about this, it arose out of our bullying discussions when we had that put on the agenda. And part of that were the nuances that went along with reporting how each school was handling things. A lot of the answers are like, we don't know, there's not really a set thing, everyone can kind of do things in a different way. And when the board was talking about it, it just felt a little problematic. Like, what do you mean that you can have 6 different elementary schools possibly handle? There's not one same incident because every student is different. Bullying is an imbalance of power, no matter which way you look at it, right? And there has to be certain protocols, you know, hey, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that. Still to this day, there are so many families who are like, I don't know what to do. And they're at the mercy of reaching out to each school administration. And there is not always trust. And we have to acknowledge that. And that isn't something that's for us to take care of, but we have to understand. I mean, have you not heard a community member come with that kind of concern? Like, I'm not sure where to go. I'm not sure what to do. I try to talk to my building admin. I don't think I'm necessarily getting the answers or getting the, handling the way I would understand, or I don't know even where to go to begin with. My kid's not sure what to do. There's just a lot of like, I don't know. So in our conversation, the flow charts, I would go back to that meeting. I would have to at this point. I mean, this is going, I don't know, was that August that I had like a bullying conversation. And in there, again, was like, staff even aren't sure necessarily, okay, what happens next? What about this or that in certain instances? So the discussion came from, a need for there to be separate things, not just like one chart. I mean, this is wonderful for kind of like a simple layout, but I don't know where, I guess, it still leaves a little bit of like a loophole for people who aren't sure necessarily what to do. I mean, it's kind of basic, but there is no, here's your chain of command. I mean, that is the biggest question we get. So where do I go if I'm, here, what's next? And so that was kind of like here are the different options you have, here is like what's supposed to happen, here are your options, here are definitions of bullying, kind of all like in various places, because it was just all over the place. When we would ask questions, the answers were just a lot of I don't knows, and it's up to each independent school, and I'm just not sure how you have procedures and policies that are followed with a lot of I don't knows. And a lot of like openness for each person. Yes, each like building admin should have the flexibility to understand their building, but where is the accountability and where is that cohesion across the district? If we're allowing people to operate on just like, I don't know that we're giving them the empowering tools to make decisions when a lot's up in the air. So to me, this flow chart is great for some of the things, but some of the feedback points I had, I don't know that it addresses necessarily what I had thought. Again, I think we all walked away maybe with different understandings, what I had thought would happen. Because I wanted to ensure that, BEA, BESPA, BIC, people who were talking to us, in a BIC meeting I sat in, they had different questions about, I don't know what to do when there's bullying. They had different concerns. So I wanted to work with the community and the feedback of the community and all of our stakeholders to ensure people understand where to go on our websites, people understand what they're supposed to do, people understand where they're supposed to go, they can't say this is exactly what comes next. But I don't see that we have something like that in place that's super solid, and I don't know that this is that.
I have a question. So some of the things we've implicated, like the QR code on the ID, have you gotten feedback that are any of these changes having an impact?
I think it allows for like an initial reporting part. There's still not a solid understanding of what is supposed to happen. What is supposed to happen? So some people are like, I got a call. Some people are like, I didn't get a call. Some people are like, I don't know if I'm supposed to receive a follow-up. And never, or I did receive a follow-up, but no, I don't. I don't know, right? Is my kid supposed to receive a follow-up from a counselor? Are they supposed to be brought in again to talk about this? So I think the initial reporting is, with the code or a site, is a bit more clear. But the actual process that happens after that just varies so much and is not clear to a lot of our community. And I'm not sure that's beneficial. I don't know that that helps people feel empowered to like ask questions, to advocate, and like there's just, it feels like barriers, and just a lot of shutdown. And so I'm not sure that when I read through this that it resolves those things necessarily. I know,
I mean, a flow chart's not gonna, that's not gonna.
So, if I could, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
It took my mouth a second to get from my brain. I heard two different things. One, the people at the schools aren't doing the same thing or not following the same process. And two, community who reports things don't know what to expect. So I'm hoping this helps what to expect somewhat, the flow chart. But would the goal be, would your goal be that if, let's say magically, the same exact incident, we gave a fake scenario to every single principal at every single school, that they all handled the exact same way and knew how to handle it?
I guess.
Is that the type of process chart you're talking about?
Well, I don't know if we don't have certain procedures in place that you can have a flow chart that it shows a procedure. So I guess that if ideally you have a bullying incident, it's reported, the same process is going, you're going to investigate, you're going to do this, you're going to follow. So if it's a founded report, there's nothing in here that shows anybody what's supposed to happen to me next. Like, am I going to have follow-ups? What do those follow-ups look like? What should I expect? And I mean, that's a lot of frustration, because if they don't feel that they're being engaged in a way, like, am I supposed to have the right to have something else happen after this?
Yeah, that's what I was talking about when I said some sort of pamphlet for, you've reported, this is what happens next.
And again, I think that I don't know if that's policy. That must be like a procedural thing where I don't know that we have anything in place that actually allows for that to happen. So I guess the flow chart, I guess, was like, maybe I'm wanting something that we can't have because we don't have solid procedures in place. I don't know if that's where I'm arriving at in this discussion here, but like, I don't see how it addresses some of the issues that have been brought to our attention, some of those shortcomings that we discussed in our bullying conversation, where we asked questions and we didn't get answers. And I would just encourage, I mean, I guess if this is a living document or whatever we call it, I would encourage us to go back there and revisit why, I guess there was a need felt for this in the first place, because I don't think it's addressing the needs that we had discussed necessarily. I feel like I'm in the twilight zone, because I don't feel like I'm the only one who remembers this conversation.
Well, RJ, when you suggested this, do you remember the impetus of why you thought we should generate a document like this?
Yes.
Yeah, I got your
And I
notes.
said this last month, and I said this the month before, so I'll say it again. My intention of the original request was that I wanted to understand what can and will happen if someone is bullied repeatedly. Will the victim receive continued outreach? Will the bully receive punishment? And what are the options? And how can we assure we remain as consistent as possible?
And this document, to me, does not show that. Where does this lack in consistency for you guys? Like, do you feel like there's consistency? Am I missing it? I don't know that this gives our admin empowerment to do that, and I don't know, maybe we haven't been, I guess maybe I was walking away with a different understanding and different hope, which we've talked about, right, that we want to make sure that we're walking with the same message, and we're working on that. But that's not the message that I understood, and I brought it up, but.
I'm wondering, as I'm listening to you, I'm comparing some of the notes of what all of you have been sharing, and then looking at our administrative procedures under policy 7180, and wonder if that might alleviate some of the concerns that you're raising. Because I'm looking at administrative procedure AP1E7, response to bullying. It provides a format document that actually requires documentation and outlines what the steps are, who the witnesses are that were spoken to, findings, response and plan for the target, response and plan for aggressor, and there's like documentation steps here that you would sign off on. It also lists what the punitive responses are in those matters, and you would list them. It ranges from loss of privileges to detention, suspension, expulsion, community service. It's a long list. So that's one question. The other one being AP1, the very first administrative procedure. If you scroll down on it, there's several numbered points that talk about responding to bullying. And in it, aside from E7, the document I referenced, it does talk about some steps on how the administration would respond to those. Are these the actual talking points that would be helpful, I guess, is my point? Because it's so much, I don't know how we put that into a consumable format of a flow chart or a grid or something of that
I
nature.
don't think that what you would have for admin would be the same that you would have for the general population, like the parents or students. I don't think it would have the same language. I don't think it would have that same, that's why I didn't understand how we'd have one flow chart.
So looking at this then, thank you for sharing that, because then I'm wondering, like, if you look at AP1, the language there feels like, to me, just from my perspective, that's what's giving parents, the aggressor or the victim, an idea of what is going to happen next. For example, if you look at like number 3, there's a very specific prompt that would be used to help in asking, how can we help you and your child? I mean, a standard, I know it sounds really simple, but just as simple, how can we help you in this particular complaint? If you look at number 9, follow up with the target, aggressor, and their parents to ensure subsequent bullying has not occurred and no new concerns have arisen. Are those I guess I'm asking the question just to help get some clarity.
Why are
on
we
it.
not asking stakeholders this question? We're asking ourselves, we're asking admin you guys do understand the way things work. For me to go into our policy, I'm like, okay, click, 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 trying to do on my phone, this and that, and I'm used to going through the policy. We're asking parents, we're asking people with various skills to go in and click on this, click on that, just to get an understanding and be able to follow along with policy language. I think it needs to be in layman's terms, and it needs to be in terms that families need to have. I guess where I stand is we've been told that what we have and what is there that is understood is not working for a lot of families, a lot of students. So that's where my feedback was, can we work with BEA, BESPA, families, students, whoever, staff members, to understand what their needs are, to understand our protocols, to understand like what the procedures are, what do they need to see to better understand what they should expect. And that's not only for accountability for, these families, for students, but for us, and ensuring that it's just something that is a bit more efficient for everybody. I mean, I think it would stop a lot of you'll still have questions and stuff, but I'm not sure why, can we answer that based on our limited experiences? Is there benefit to talking to our stakeholders and engaging, like, what do you need? It's a problem that I think we've been approached with a lot. And that's where I kind of don't know that, when I think about the people who've come and I think of the conversations, I don't know that this necessarily, it is helpful. I don't want to say it's not helpful. It is helpful. I don't
think from your perspective, and I think it's helpful, but it doesn't approach the other concerns that you have that are preceding this event effectively.
Yeah, and it still doesn't, I think some of the concerns and what the bring up of it again was, there was a lot of I don't knows, this could be handled this way, it could not be handled this way, and how does admin know these things? It wasn't very okay, there's something missing here, there's a lot of up in the air. A parent who has an incident that happens at Rotolo may be differently handled, completely, than something that happens to one of their other children at the elementary, let's say. And I understand there's different, there's obviously it's a different incident, different place and all that, but there should be some understanding of a process, a general process, and what they should see as far as feedback and the loop around and a time frame, and it should be pretty easy to navigate. I just don't feel like it is.
So how does everybody else feel? This is intended to be a dialogue.
I mean, there's a couple things, Danielle, you brought up. To me, this, a flow chart's not gonna address your issues. It's almost more like an audit would be necessary to see if we're all following the procedures the right way. But then also you brought up trust and things, so that's more of a culture thing. That's how I would interpret it. I mean, I could be wrong, but, I know when you do the QR code, doesn't one of them come who's your trusted adult? I think that comes up. And I know not everyone's gonna use the QR code, but, the flow chart's kind of a limited tool. I don't think it can address some of the things you're talking about. So it's kind of a different tier of analysis, I think, of what we're doing if we're gonna go down that path. Is that accurate, or am I on something? No?
No, I think I hear what you're saying. The culture, yes, I mean, we obviously have a culture, there's a cultural, something that provides the space for bullying and whatnot. What I more so meant is that, just hearing from people who've had to navigate, right? And it's not handled in the best way, they're not sure where else to go, we're not supposed to, I can come to the board, but it doesn't go anywhere because we're not really engaging. I'm not sure. I think people would just feel better knowing that there is this outline here. There is something they know that they can follow and point to and say, hey, I know I'm supposed to come to you, right? And I follow this chain of command, and I know that this is next, and I'm empowered to take this next step if I follow this or that. That's not really out there. It's not really anything that we have access to, that the public has access to. And for that part, for the trust, I think that allows people to understand, there are certain things that you have in line, so if you are having like an issue or you had issues, like this is how you would navigate this. The cultural thing though, I think is something, wouldn't be solved with the flow chart.
Yeah, I'm not sure the cultural thing is, that's put in place over years of, you know, that's challenged with years of perceived at a minimum kind of inaction or not appropriate reaction. And then the only way to really fix that is to try to go the other direction and kind of make some changes or institute some consistency from what your perspective, you're talking about. So, I mean, I guess from my and personal opinion about the chart is I feel like the chart kind of talks about kind of what happens on a post kind of element, because it kind of talks about, it does talk about like the steps that you guys are kind of generally gonna go through. Does it talk about specific timelines? I don't know, because I don't know how consistent that is from a bullying incident or not. I know that some of them have like a 10-day period, but oftentimes you can discuss with the system and say, okay, that's gonna take a little extra time or whatever else, so that's kind of inherent in the process. Some of these other things looking out front, one of them is you talked about kind of getting stakeholder involvement in the confirmation of what is on our website, right?
Well, this was in a meeting, an open session, I'd have to go back. This was told to me that this was for the board. This was not for public. When I asked the questions around it, I was told that this is for the board, that this was not ever meant to intended. That's where I was like, wait a minute, I thought when we talked, I brought that up in an open session because this is supposed to be for us. And now it's supposed to serve the whole community.
I don't recall it that way.
Okay.
That's just me. I'll
Okay.
have to go back and look. I'm
Yeah,
not
I mean,
saying
if
you're
you,
wrong. I
if
have
you
go
want to
back and-
verify, I'm very sure with where I was like, wait a minute, this was supposed to be for us, and that's where it was like, no, that's just for you guys, it's not like meant to be for everything. When I asked about the feedback loop, when I asked specifically about that in an open session, I said, are we able to, invite people, and it was like, well, this is for us. And so we have our own perspectives here. We have heard over and over and over that something isn't working for families. And what I'm saying is that I don't see how how do we feel that this is helping our families and the problems that they have brought to us? Where does this empower a family to have more education, whether it's definitions of what bullying is, whether it's this or that, and easy, and even it's like links to different places so that it's like easy for people to get to. They shouldn't have to navigate through our policies. They shouldn't have to like second guess and click on this site. It should be something where it's like, okay, let's get this. We're educated, we have everything at our fingertips, but I don't think that it's designed that way because it was supposed to be for us somehow. And there was like back and forth on who it was initially discussed to be for.
So, question, so it says, bullet 5 on our flow chart, it says bullying confirmed. Yes, proceed to step 6. So there, you would want to link. This is the definition of our like the link to our policy on what bullying is.
See, I guess I would have to sit longer as like a parent if that was how and like thinking about that, like, yeah, that's why again, I was hoping that we would have a little bit more engagement with the people who are actually needing to utilize this. From their perspective, who would actually be our users. I would understand this being in place for us, if it is helpful for us, 100%. But if we are saying that this is on the website to direct people to, it's what our admin necessarily gonna take in. Yeah, I think we need a little bit more of that feedback, that engagement loop, because I don't know how the 7 of us can possibly decide on that as effectively. So I feel like you guys have heard me. If you all feel it differently, I get it. I mean, I know you guys care about this. I know that this is all of our goals. I'm not trying to push back. This is just my understanding. I feel like I put it out there very clearly. I think you guys heard me. I'm not asking you to do anything differently.
Understood. Yeah, and I appreciate you bringing it up and talking about it, because it's important, because there even if it's not right now and related to this, it's something that's gonna kind of, like when someone emails us or something, it's like, okay, now we all kind of start to understand your perspective a little bit. I think there's kind of 2 things, one is to kind of give maybe and some of the administration to kind of synthesize and absorb a little bit about what it is talked about, and to kind of look at some of the stuff we have as a lens. I think the original kind of discussion point started as something that would be to help people that are involved in the process and understanding what they would go through. I think there was a point maybe in the meeting where it was created initially it was created for us to be able to help us understand, just like the people that are going through the process. But I understand your point. What you're saying is, hey, then they should probably be involved in an ability to kind of comment on this. And I think part of that may be let's see how it evolves over time on a live document. Like, as it gets enacted, what are the things as part of that feedback people are actually going through the process with it.
I think initially to me it was clear, but I think this is where as a board, we've kind of discovered after meetings, when there's action items, we have said we want to make sure to.
Well, that's why we're trying to do that now.
We have an understanding, because this is the perfect example.
Yep, 100%.
Because the conversation that, like I said, it was in that bullying conversation, and where it arrived from was different than what we're applying it to now, for the way I see it.
From your perspective, and
Yes.
I'm not minimizing that, I'm just saying clearly from your perspective, that's what you feel.
Right, right.
Okay. So that being said, is this for what people felt that their understanding of the intended purpose was aligned for that document? And if there's some things that we could recommend being investigated on it or using it, is that, like, as a live document, how does that grow and change? Because the thing we need to come out of here is, if there's gonna be changes to it, it needs to be kind of from an agreement of the board, whether that's a majority or consensus. This is a this is a procedure item, not a policy item, so therefore we don't need to have a true vote on it. But what we do owe the staff, and we do owe Superintendent Kim, is a clear understanding of what the board is requesting, so we don't have confusions like this, because they're seeing it the way it's being expressed effectively right now.
So this is for it to be on our website for just general knowledge, right? This is what our viewpoint is. We are on that understanding right now. This is what, does that, and you guys are okay with that? You don't want to visit having anything different for that?
I like the idea of having the links on it, like
Yeah.
what's referred to, like.
So you're asking, how do we give that?
Well, that's kind of the thing is, hey, I think there's a good point here about adding some links to get to the procedure, the pages on the website, so it's easier to navigate, or to figure out a way of being able to make that's kind of the direction. So if everybody's like, okay, is there a way of being able to put in, I want some comment from you, Tom, is there a way to embed some links on the PDF version? Because when it's printed on a wall, it's not gonna help anybody, and that's, like you said, it's not posted in there, right? But when they go to the Safe Helpline, it'll get there and get them to a PDF, right? So is that something the board feels like if we could embed in that some way of kind of helping to cross-connect those elements?
Can you restate that again for me? I'm sorry.
So in this document, so when someone goes to that website, if it hits the bullying section, yes, this is identified as bullying, it links to the definition of bullying or this board policy on bullying.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like a good idea. I'm just trying to figure out how we can give them more direction of like what kind of links we want to put on there.
Is that what you were trying to get at, is like, so let's say we are hearing from, I don't know, just parents, let's say, or kids, whatever, like, hey, this is not, we're just hearing over and over. Are you asking like who makes those decisions to make changes? Like,
No, I think that's like my question earlier to Rob was, look, it's a live document. If they're finding that it's not working quite the way it needs to be working, they need to have some agency to make some adjustments to get it to work without having to come back to us on a monthly basis to ask for those amendments.
Are you
right?
saying like Holly? Like,
Yeah, Holly or
okay.
Brad or whomever's in charge or involved in that process, that be able to do that. So they can have some agency of making those change. A recommendation based on what we're hearing is that having some links embedded in this may help that as a first blush. I don't think it is either.
It wasn't, I don't think it was.
Raquel said it.
I don't think so. I think it was just like,
Part of the dialogue.
I don't know who said it.
It's all right.
Run it back.
Yeah.
I say it's my one.
So from that perspective on that, now, I think some of the kind of stakeholder involvement and some of those other ones you're talking about kind of on the pre-reporting issue, like if someone's just like trying to figure out, okay, I reported it, okay, I kind of get my steps, or I don't even know if I should report it, you know, early steps, or I don't feel comfortable, so what do I need to investigate to know? I think that's something that, do we feel like as a board that there needs to be some focus or time spent on that? Am I paraphrasing some things correctly?
I don't know what.
I feel like you were talking about some of like the language that's in the website, and like, it sounds like, to me, way I'm looking at this is kind of what happens if you reported an incident, it gives you an idea of the steps and the progress that's going to occur.
Right.
If you're thinking about reporting it, it makes you aware of how people are gonna handle it, right? So that's kind of somewhat clear, but early on is, how do I know what to report, or if I'm gonna report, or do I need to report, or whatever?
Or to whom?
To whom, that was a good point you made earlier, so if there's some things to just ask the administration and via Tom to kind of look at those components and see if that's clear, and if there's ways to clarify that.
And is there a mechanism to get that feedback from people? That's kind of the piece you're saying, right? Like the people that are impacted.
I mean, my
Are we-
first thought, I'm sorry, BA, but like, we have a union full of educators that are with our kids day in and day out. I think they have a pretty good idea and understanding, or they're in touch with our students, probably the most parents, but yeah, I don't think it has to be like we're sending mail cards out to everybody necessarily. I don't know what that needs to look like. I just don't know that I feel comfortable saying like, my recommendations are it, you know, our recommendations are it. I think that our stakeholders are the people that need to let us know, I think.
So from my perspective, we're elected people to represent the community and also our interests, or people that, you know, that we have the ear, that have our ear, or people that talk to us a lot, because like you hear a lot of, probably outside of just the people that come talk to us. I don't, right? Nobody tends to come to me to express those concerns, right? So I have to take it on faith to a certain extent with our dialogues that yes, there is greater than the people I hear that actually come to board meetings.
So the only thing then that would educate us more is, if that's the case, is that people actually are coming to us. That's like what I would take out of that, because I'm saying from being connected to various people, and especially in the
groups.
outside work I do, like with BCDI and other organizations, this isn't the help that some people need. It doesn't help navigate through various barriers, through just the system itself. And we can leave it like that and add in things and then wait for people, if that's what you're kind of getting at, wait for feedback to come.
Or actively search it out a bit as it occurs. So like, if there's a bullying incident, someone says, okay, let's talk about how this process went for you and how you feel like it, or whatever it is,
Yeah, I would
as a mechanism.
Yeah, I'd empower everyone to be able to have that, like,
And
and to
if-
bring it back.
And if you guys do that already, you can kind of speak up and say, yeah, that's part of our process a little bit, you know, so.
I mean, a quick question is, does this, like our bullying policy flow chart, is this given annually to all our workers or BPS?
So this flow chart was created this school year,
Right.
right? Because it's new. It came at the suggestion and discussion, as Daniel, you pointed out in that August board meeting. Actually, I think it came in the July board meeting. And then we had a discussion about, can we get this by the August board meeting? I said, we'll try, but we're opening schools. So if the board could give us some grace, if you
September.
recall, I asked, give us a little bit of an extension beyond that. That's why it came later in the fall, when we were able to collect feedback from you, put it together. So I've been quiet only because I'm really trying to like focus in on what everyone's talking about, trying to process. At the end of the day, if we look at what the objective and the goal is, if I understand correctly, is we're trying to create a mechanism that helps with the communication, understanding, and knowledge of our processes and protocols. Is that fair? If I had to synthesize it in like a one sentence way, is that
Yeah.
feel right? I see a lot of heads nodding. Yeah? Danielle's good. I saw, Darren, you feel.
That was a nod, yes.
Yeah, right, okay. So we're trying to create that because, to your point, Danielle, we have these administrative procedures living side by side our policy, board policy. But your point is, it doesn't really come alive for people when they're in need of some information or guidance, that's not, that maybe we could try a different tactic in a one go-to document or something of that form, right? And, because some of these things I do feel, to a certain extent, does outline what the content of the investigation is.
Yeah.
Literally, we have a bank of questions that administrators will ask during the investigation. I believe it's Form 3. So, but to your point, like, you gotta go
And
scroll
I don't
and
think
click
anyone
and-
should know what each question is, because that, I mean, obviously you would have lists and lists and lists because everything is so different. But I think every incident, our body, our community should understand what to expect. There should be understood and cohesive expectations as far as, okay, you know, this, then that. Just like, I mean, some of this does hit on that mark. It's just not necessarily hitting for, I think, people who don't have a lot of that inside knowledge that we all collectively have.
So I have an idea, if the board is comfortable with this. Brad had made a suggestion in response to some of the questions about templates, right, of different follow-through steps, et cetera. I think Brad and I can find a way to meld some of that quick action. Here are some go-to links, one page, along with merging that concept that Brad had shared. We have a BIC meeting on March 15th, I believe it is. It's either March 13th or 15th. It's that Saturday. If we're able to pull that together, you know, I can present it to BIC. We have BESPA and BEA leadership there. We also, you were part of the conversation when we did some of our bullying data and discussion with the slide charts that Brad was part of. Some of the parents, just so the board is aware, some of our parents at BIC are also actually licensed clinicians in this space and actually gave us really good feedback about the work. So if you're all okay with it, can we try that approach? Because then at that board meeting in March, we get that feedback from BIC. We can present to you what a draft template might look like from this conversation. And, you know, if it's good there, we can work on a communication plan.
So, I'm fine with all, but then, and I understand that this was created just recently, but my question, are administrators, all BPS employees aware of the bullying policy and what they're supposed to do? Like, everyone from like the janitors, obviously all the way up to the administrators. Is there a clear cut when this happens?
I mean, they're required to do our trainings.
Right. And that's what I'm saying, are they
But-
done yearly? That's what I'm asking, are they done yearly? Yeah. Is there an acknowledgement at the training?
You have to complete it.
Yeah.
It's tracked.
I mean.
Yeah, for sure. Fair question. No, you're the accountability mind.
Right, I'm the compliance
I know,
person.
you're the compliance,
so-
that's the word I was looking at. It is all tracked and monitored.
And then the last thing then is, if we all, after the big meeting, and we all agree, and I don't know how difficult or not difficult this is can it like, you know, when you go through registration, you know, you have to click on, yes, I got the parent handbook and all that stuff.
I received it.
Right, is there something in there,
good
like
idea.
a link there, like, here is our bullying policy?
Received.
Right,
So everyone can see it.
I don't know if that's.
We can talk about it. I don't know, but I don't want to put any of our teams on the spot that touch that.
Right. No,
What seems
it's
simple
fine.
to me,
Right, I agree.
Well,
And-
Dave
but
might
again,
tackle
just
me
so,
after the
like-
meeting, I don't
So,
know.
like you said, like if a parent doesn't know where to go, and if it's in their packet or,
On Our School or whatever.
Right.
yeah.
and we have moved to that online format for registration, residency, right, proof of residency process, so we can explore that.
I mean,
So is the board collectively, you're good with this? Yeah?
Yes.
All right, that helps, that's awesome. And we'll come back to you then at the March board meeting, hopefully, especially with some BIC input. All right,
All right.
thank you.
Everybody. No, I'm just, you get to say it first, then I'll say it afterwards. So Go ahead, thank them.
Thank you, everyone.
You're welcome.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Danielle, specifically. All right, the next is administration comments. Tom, is there anything else you want to add to this?
Not this, but I do have some comments
That's what I
prepared.
meant, sorry. That's what I meant.
And I'm thankful that Drew did not steal any thunder tonight, but anyway.
Apparently that happened at the last one.
Are we at that part?
We are, sir.
Okay. I just wanted to begin by sharing and expressing how truly excited and grateful we are to welcome Sean David to our team beginning on July 1st. I believe Sean joins us with a passion for supporting students and staff, which is also coupled with a vision that aligns beautifully with our shared commitments in our strategic plan. His expertise in teaching and learning, combined with his diverse experiences in other districts and his natural leadership abilities, will undoubtedly strengthen our team. It is clear that he will always keep the well-being and success of our students at the center of what Hooverwood School is all about, and I think you saw that energy and excitement tonight. I also want to extend my gratitude to Ms. Amber Jersa, a teacher at BHS, for bringing to my attention the proclamation agenda item at the City of Batavia Council last night. I was unable to attend the city's meeting, but I was able to watch the recording of the meeting this morning. Witnessing the recognition of our employees and students in honor of Black History Month filled me with joy. It is a reminder of the power of lifting each other up and honoring the stories that shape all of us. I was especially moved to see Mayor Shelkey recognize Pastor Seymour, who's the leader of the Baptist Logan Church right here in Batavia. Pastor Seymour has been a great voice and a source of wisdom for me as I transitioned into the district last year. Pastor Seymour and I also have some mutual acquaintances, which is part of how I was able to reach out to him when I was trying to learn more about our community and school district. So I was really pleased to see him being lifted in his own work for his dedication to the history and contribution of people of color in Batavia, which I think is invaluable to the history of this community. So as we continue this work, I think seeing what I saw in the city's meeting recording, we are reminded that teaching our students about the rich and diverse history of our community and our nation is not confined to a single month. Rather, it's a lifelong commitment to building understanding, fostering unity, and nurturing a future where every voice is valued. Together, I believe that what we do is plant the seeds of empathy, knowledge, respect that will eventually continue to make us a thriving and inclusive community. I hope that we continue to build minds of curiosity and a capacity for kindness and humanity, not the alternative. So I just want to thank you, board. I want to thank our teachers, our support staff, and our administrators for the unwavering support and dedication in our mission and to the students that we serve. Everyone's compassion, resilience, and hope definitely lights the way forward, so I'm excited.
Thank you.
That's all I have tonight.
All right, next is board comments. Danielle, would you like to start or do you want me to skip?
No, it's fine.
Okay.
Because you guys have not heard from me enough tonight. No. Let's see. Tom, I was actually going to bring up the proclamation because not only did it celebrate, you mentioned staff and students, and I didn't know about some of the history of our staff. I think it's Ruthie Toscana. There was actually a proclamation for a day for her. She was an educator, I think, at Louise White. And then again, Logan Street Church, 104 years old. And I was like, what? I mean, just some great history and how it's molded in. Then we had Amber's daughter, Molly, who was in the picture, also give a speech. And, she is someone, she's like her mother. She is not going to shy away from the truth. She's going to share her lived experience in that. I'm just always so in awe of our kids because, we've had people come to board meetings and this is what we're asking of our students, right? This is like the portrait of a graduate, to be able to get up and to actually speak for your true lived experience, to give hope. There was so much hope in it and just even a call to action. And I'm just these little activists and how they're just willing to put themselves out there to better other people's lives. It's just so beautiful to watch. And I mean, it was such a great representation of what BPS is putting in this community. It's so just intertwined in so many ways. So it was a great celebration. And by the way, happy Black History Month. I wanted to also I was really just moved by the Louise White celebration. Was at School is Awesome. And just how they're bringing back, I mean, COVID really took a hit, I think, in a lot of community events. I'm at Storm, and it really, we haven't bounced back from that. And it's weird to walk up there and not know most of the people. I mean, I'm an older parent now, but like, I know, I'm just like, yeah, it is. You know, and Lucas is just in second grade, so there's like that disconnect, but seeing like what they're doing and that sense of belonging, that ownership, and you're talking about like pathways for kids and like kind of coming down younger and younger for them to have these, you know, different tasks and that ability to feel like they really belong and they're bringing value every day. It's just so cool. Like, I just thought that was so cool they did, and I'm excited to see that kind of, maybe just go throughout the rest of the community. And I just want to say to like our staff and just everyone here with everything that's just, I feel like everywhere in the news with public schools, I'm so grateful for everyone here in this room for the time that everyone gives. I know that everyone here truly does care about our kids. That is why we are here. We give and give, and we are working on working together. And I think that we will get this communication thing down. And I do know that, and I feel bad because I feel like we're privileged in our Batavia bubble, because I feel like we are going to do everything we can to make sure our educators have what they need, to have our students, and that every kid is able to come to school and get a proper education and feel as safe as possible. And I realize that comes with a lot of privilege, but I don't know, I just kind of lean back and I'm just like, oh, like I feel like we're okay and we're gonna make sure everything's okay, but I just wanna say I see all of our educators, and we're gonna work hard to make sure that we have everything we need. That's what I have.
Mr. RJ.
Can I go last?
Yes, you may.
Thanks.
Aaron.
All right, I'm up. So I want to thank all our BPS partners tonight. I definitely want to welcome Mr. Degman. You know, I think those nights when we welcome someone to the Batavia family are some of the best nights we have, and it was great to see that outpouring of support he had this evening and see his kids there who are very proud of their father. So very excited to have him in the fold. I also want to say, like the student ambassadors, RJ commented, but I've been on the committee to select ambassadors, and I think this was the first time where usually they kind of give a rundown of events, and this is the first time where they kind of brought voice to student concerns, which is sort of what we've been asking for or hoping for. And so to see that tonight and expressed so eloquently and clearly was really fantastic, and I hope we see more of that in the future. So I'm excited about that. And I do want to say, before I forget, I want to thank everybody who's going to get our kids to school safely and warmly. Our team, I mean, in the morning, I drop my son off at the high school. There's teachers out there in the cold, bundled up, directing traffic, making sure everybody's safe. So I appreciate all those efforts, including the community members that make sure the pathways are clear where people are walking. So thank you for that. And then I want to share 3 things that I personally experienced that were positive. Earlier in the month, it was Women Participating in Sports Day. And I really had like 3 instances. So I have 2 daughters. And so the first thing I want to say, so that's a topic that's very near and dear to me, is opportunities, not just in sports, but anything for women. The first thing is I want to recognize our girls tennis coach, Brad Nelson. He was recognized by his peers as the 2A Regional Girls Tennis Coach of the Year, which is outstanding. And the thing I'll say about Mr. Nelson is he's an outstanding coach, but when you interact with people that he's worked with, he's just an amazing individual that really fosters success, confidence in these his students, his girls that he's coaching. So I bumped into him over the weekend, and that's really outstanding, so I want to congratulate him. The second thing is more personal to me. So my daughter's in 6th grade, and at Rotolo Middle School, so at Batavia, we're very proud of our football program. They have started a women's flag football club. This was initiated by students at Rotolo. They expressed an interest. They had their first scrimmage, public scrimmage. I want to thank the coaches, Coach Frico, and there's a parent coach, Coach Bruno. They came up there and they gave us a little rundown. There's 51 girls. They talked to us what the girls have been working through. They got out there then and they played a game. And it was great to see them out there learning and they were doing their plays. They had their playbook in the huddle. They were going out there throwing passes and interceptions. And my daughter was just having a blast. And it was, they're falling down. They're kind of learning on the go. And so, I'm hoping that when my daughter's a senior, this will be, I know it's an IHSA sport, I believe now, correct?
Emerging sport, maybe?
Emerging sport, but, it'd be great to see in 7 years, the women out there, Bulldog Field playing some flag football. I'd love to see that. And then the last thing was, I had the opportunity to attend for the women's basketball team, their senior night. And I went and I was watching the game, and one thing I always lament when I go is there's no paper programs anymore. Everything's a QR code, and I have to look on my phone. But they actually had these programs. And inside, all the seniors, they had a little information about some of their accomplishments. And then there was a quote from every student. So I want to tie back to earlier, Mr. Hall and Ms. Janitis. They had, when they talked about their student volunteers, the goal was build leadership, respect, and a sense of belonging. This is for fifth graders. And so I saw this quote from one of the student athletes. I won't use her name, but I did reach out to the family and say, would you mind if I read it? Because in the moment, it really struck me. So I'm going to read this verbatim. This is one of our seniors. She'll be graduating in 3 months. And she said, being a Bulldog means a lot to me. To be a Bulldog is being part of a strong, supportive community who always has your back. It means working hard and showing determination in everything you do, both on and off the court. It's about embracing the values of teamwork, respect, and perseverance. Being a Bulldog means representing your school with pride and integrity. And most importantly, it's about building lasting relationships and making a positive impact on those around you. So I know her experience is not every student's experience, but when I heard what we're trying to build at the grade school level, this is one of the strengths of a large unit district where we have K through 12, that culture every year we're building. And so I was just really inspired by that. And so it's good to know that there are kids, I read that, I think that's what we're shooting for when we're, developing these young people. So that was a great moment for me, and congratulations to the team. And they had a game tonight, I think. Did you get an update, or you haven't checked your phone?
They won.
They won. All right, good. So there's another one game. Happy Black History Month, but again, I hope everyone's safe and stays warm, but thank you.
All right, so happy Black History Month, and I want to thank JB Nelson teachers Marcy Kuhn and Katie Welter for inviting me to the National Read Aloud Day on February 5th. I went to their classrooms and I read to their students. I let them pick out the book because it's been a minute since I read to young students in second and third grades. And after I read to them, which I did enjoy the books, I'm not gonna lie.
What'd you read?
Oh, man.
Sorry.
It was one about a grape. I remember that.
Is it like the angry grape or something,
Yes.
or something like that?
Yes,
Okay.
the sour grape, yeah.
Sour grape.
What was it about?
He was happy, and then something made him sour. But then he kind of was like, well, wait a minute, why am I sour? Maybe this person just had this bad day, and so he changed his paradigm shifting.
Did he turn into wine?
He did not, but he was sweet again. And then after that, I had the Q&A session with the kids, which was fun. I got to ask, what's your favorite? But I enjoyed it. And then I got also invited to sit in on their SLT meeting, and it was very interesting. Never been to one, didn't know what it was about, but I enjoyed it. It's good information. And I wanted to support JB Nelson's PTO Trivia Night, but sadly, I was too late to register for Trivia Night. It was sold out. But
That's good,
I
though.
will be supporting the BEA and attending their trivia night as a Diamond Dog, so.
Team to beat.
You're bringing
Goes
a
on a
team?
different table.
I gotta bring my, well, it's the one that I'm always a part of.
Okay, all right.
Go Diamond Dogs.
They're tough.
We excuse her absence.
Diamond Dogs. I don't know if you see her
Right.
jacket there.
This was totally coincidental. I
Sure.
was told, like, I need a boat.
That's not a coincidence.
It totally is.
The trash talking's already done.
But that's all I have. I hope everyone stays safe and warm.
Thank you. So I think I'm gonna have like a process data theme here with some of my comments. First of all, the Louise White presentation, appreciated that, and I wanted to highlight that they use data, right? They use data to identify a gap, and then they took action to address it. So hopefully we'll see more of that in our Celebrating Successes in regards to kind of looking at information, data, and it's not always numbers. It's could be verbal feedback and can, that, interaction with people and taking that feedback and trying to come up with a plan and action to address a gap that might be there. So appreciated that. Welcome to Mr. Degman as principal at Hoover Wood. While we were on the break, I was kind of talking to Steve a little bit, and he explained the process that went through to arrive at that decision. So pretty rigorous, I would say, and you had a lot of candidates, and you kind of had to go through it, look at qualifications and kind of the needs for that school. So appreciate working through that process to come up with the best candidate possible for the school. And this one just came to me as Mark and Dave were talking, is just appreciate some of the, a lot of times those agenda items are boring, we just gotta listen and approve it, quote unquote. Can I use that word? And actually,
Second.
I like it. He meant riveting. Riveting.
They all slumped down when you said that.
let me add a but there. But I appreciated the fiscal responsibility that I saw in those presentations. So Mark talked about rejecting bids because it's just way over budget. It's not what we want to do, and then of course Dave, I'll call the $1 million man, got a lot of money going, but he shared some of the process and the bids and some of the benefits that came out of I don't know if call it negotiation, but just the process that went through there. So hopefully people can appreciate that type of fiscal awareness by our administration as they're going through some of these items, which is big. We get a lot of community feedback. Are you using our money wisely? So appreciate that. Thanks, guys. And then the last one, I just want to share a couple of things, and I sent an email to you, Brad, but couple social occasions over the last month, and heard about just good work by the guidance counseling department at Batavia High School, helping students with their post-secondary aspirations. And I thought that would be a great opportunity for a Celebrating Success, because I think some of the things they're doing to scholarships, interviews, helping the students prepare for interviews for either like a scholarship opportunity or maybe even a next opportunity, job opportunity or education opportunity as it may be. But I heard that type of feedback on more than one occasion. It just seemed like this month I got a couple just randomly. So I shared that with Brad and Tom, and love to hear more about the good stuff that they're doing in that regard. So and that's it.
Thanks. I appreciate letting me go last. I know I normally don't have a lot to say. I think I've had a lot of meetings where I said nothing to say, but I've got something kind of long, sorry. And if it sounds like it's emotionally driven, it's because it is. So I was gonna try to just be professional, but that doesn't sound like me, so I just spoke the words that came through my head. And I hope that this message is received with an open mind, because it's also gonna sound a little bit like, I don't know, I'm yelling at people. I'm not. I have some things that I need to say that I wanna, because I only have a couple board meetings left. So, thank you for indulging me. So I'm gonna read this, because otherwise I'm gonna go off. So let's see. I only have a few meetings left as a school board member, and I'd like to discuss a bit regarding my decision not to rerun for election. not to run for reelection, along with some other things that have been on my mind. While my desire to help students and impact education in Batavia remains intact, I'm afraid I've become overwhelmed with compassion fatigue due to the strong emotional impact of what I believe to be an altruistic motivation that seems to have been made to appear disingenuous by some members of public. I'm a supporter of rights for all people and want to provide a safe environment for all of our students, every single student. One of the main populations I've hoped to support is that of minorities and of the LGBTQIA+ community. However, members of that very community have made it clear to me that they're not happy with my efforts. That has been done several times on social media and through direct messages to my school board email. Some of these folks have gone as far as becoming my personal bullies. So to say that again, those who say they want me or us, the school board, to work towards stopping bullying, are they themselves sending us messages of hate? While, yes, criticism is part of public service, I had hoped we could engage in productive conversations rather than personal attacks. Beyond this, the amount of disinformation and misinformation that is spread throughout the community seems to be a battle that I cannot win. From incidents at school to the BPS referendum years ago, to class population sizes, and even to learning materials, incorrect information spreads very easily. Using opinion to replace fact and truth is causing chaos and a lack of unity. Disinformation being the intentional use of incorrect information with disregard for the truth, and misinformation being the misunderstanding of information, spreading it. Either way, the intention, it is happening, and it happens a lot, and I don't think it's doing anything except tearing apart the community. I personally have tried to speak to members of our community individually, including several very influential leaders of groups in the community that have great intentions, but everyone seems to only want to be heard and not to listen. Folks want to understand, but they don't want to understand other people. Folks want to be understood, but they don't want to understand other people. The members of this admin team and school board I'm sitting with have nothing but good intentions for our students. They have struggles of their own, yet they put your children first. This group of people are the ones you should be getting to know, not just criticize. They do what they believe is best for students in a collaborative and evolving effort that needs to be recognized as a positive and not just as an uninformed statement such as nothing is being done. I have heard and read the statement, nothing is being done about bullying way too many times, so sorry to indulge me a little bit longer, but I'd like to point out some specific things that have been done since the 2023 school year. One, the Board of Education updated Policy 7180 and added stronger language. The district will not tolerate bullying, intimidation, and harassment. Two, our admin team plus a board member met with the Batavia Interschool Council, BIC, and the leaders, which has many of our school partners and all representatives from the elementary PTOs, and they presented bullying data and the programs that are in place to prevent bullying, took their feedback, and which the committee said that they were thoroughly satisfied with the progress in programming that was shared. Three, each building has undertaken various initiatives to educate and address bullying, intimidation, and harassment, such as coffee with the administration. There's training at the start of every year. Grade level teams are using portraits of graduate lessons, and teachers and teams are using the inclusion and anti-bullying lessons developed by our behavioral manager. Four, the school board watches the hiring and termination process. We are consistently asking Steve about his attempts to help diversify staffing, and you always have great answers for it. Implementation of our CHAMPS framework, which addresses behavior education expectations at 3 different tiers, has been seen as one of the most impactful ways for creating strong learning environments and addressing bullying. 5, we've had legal counsel provide training to all administrators. 6, each building has established a school improvement goal focused on belonging. These data and goals were presented in November to the Board of Education. 7, I personally met with every principal over the past school year, and every single one of them told me that they feel support and that they have the tools they need to help students feel welcome and safe. 8, the district pays for counseling services for and therapeutic support. 9, administration members ride the buses when needing to address bus behavior. 10, we have increased visibility of bullying reporting, which continues to evolve. 11, students now have the QR code placed on student IDs to ensure they know how to report incidents. 12, multiple languages are available by parent choice, used for messenger systems to improve communication and reduce systemic barriers in communication. 13, we continue to update and evolve the data collection and reporting related to bullying. And 14, upcoming is restorative practices, training, and capacity building. In-house trainers will be ready in May. I know this was a lot, and I appreciate you all for listening to me. All that information has been discussed in previous meetings or is available if you contact any of the board, admin members. If you cannot attend and watch the meetings and have questions on things, please reach out. I know that the admin team, I know that Tom are always willing to answer questions directly. And I have 3 final things. One, just because somebody doesn't agree with you doesn't mean that they're wrong. I ask people to keep that in mind. 2, I'm asking that every member of the public take responsibility for things that they say and post on social media. The public has the loudest voice and must be responsible for how it's used. Words have a tremendous impact and need to be used with care. And then lastly, to everyone and anyone listening that's ever involved with the school board, please assume good intentions and seek first to understand before seeking to be understood. That's it. Thanks for indulging me.
No, thank you, Rob. Appreciate that. All right, I'm just gonna close with, I appreciate everybody's comments and the time and effort. I'm just gonna echo, so I'm not gonna actually do it. So everybody made very good points tonight, so thank you to everybody for all their efforts for everything. We are going to be going to closed session right afterwards. We don't have any action items afterwards, and we're doing the board comments and stuff beforehand, so you guys don't have to hang around and wait for that. So thank you for your time, everybody, and we will be adjourned to closed session. So I do the time is here, right, for the closed session? I'm trying to remember. 11.1. Do I do that here? Or do that after, once we get in there?
No,
I
you
need to read
do
it now.
this now,
Yeah,
and then we'll
right.
do a closed
That's
session.
right.
yeah.
All right, the time is 9:47. I will entertain a motion to move to closed session as allowed under the Open Meetings Act for the purposes of exception 5 ILCS 120/2C2 and C1.
So moved.
So moved by Raquel.
Second.
Second by Aaron. Roll call vote, please. Cindy?
Kilburg,
Yes.
Mathis,
Yes.
Steiger,
Yes.
Meadows,
Yes.
Arlandu,
Yes.
Gonzalez Thomas.
Yes.
All right, thank you. We will move into closed session. Thanks, everybody, for coming tonight.